We're back with our second semi-final. Already we witnessed one team, and no stranger to finals. It's SK Gaming managed to get themselves a seat for that grand final for the lion's share of $300,000. And now, who joins them is the big question. I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson, joined by Janko YNK Paunovic and Sam Dazed Marine. Gentlemen, you look fabulous. We've had some great CS. We actually got to see some very close maps, which is something that we haven't seen in the previous days, so we were enjoying that already. And now it's an intriguing one. It's going to be NiP versus FaZe. And already we have set the scene somewhat in the pre-show, but there is so much to talk about. This is so exciting. And I think we have to start with FaZe Clan. And admittedly, some messages may be repeated, but they've undergone a number of changes. In fact, I mean, Janko, if you remind us way back when this first was started, this idea of putting stars together from all around the world together, that was a completely different roster almost.
Rain is actually the only original player from that roster. It was Rain, Scream, Huiten, Fox, and the fifth player was Michaelella actually. So now you can see, obviously, on your screens, you could see that Rain is the only remaining member of that lineup.
Kinguin, right?
Yes, they went through a lot of iterations of the roster, but kept having same problems, leadership issues, always considered as a team who has very, very skilled individuals, but never had nearly enough structure, routine to be able to, you know, even make it out of the group stages. Almost for a year, they haven't even been able to do that. They bring in Kerrigan, they make the change with Jacob and Kyoshima, and they make the playoffs at E-League, and now we see them here straight into the semis at Oakland.
And the question that has to be asked, this one's to you, Sam, is that we always use the word Holly? No, we don't.
Honeymoon.
I was going to say Hollywood period. That makes less sense. Yeah. Honeymoon period. I want to know whether you think that's what's going on here. They have made a big change, an addition of leadership, and already they've found more success than they have found in a whole year without him.
You know, I personally have a lot of belief in this roster. Okay. I still don't think they're going to have enough to beat NiP, just because I'm not comfortable saying that they're going to make this big of a leap so quick. Okay. Having said that, I think in due time we're going to have another team, yet another team in CSGO that could potentially go deep in tournament after tournament.
And you think that this could very well be this roster. So we'll spend a little moment or two outlining what it is that works so well. It's not necessarily just Kerrigan, this is the new addition, but also the level of firepower and the individual mechanical skill seems to be a recurring topic, right, Janko? You know, if you separate the teams and you forget about strategy in terms of mechanical skill, in terms of individual skill, FaZe are up there with the best, right?
Absolutely so. I mean, just imagine that this was a team of free agents, right? Imagine AZ was a free agent. He would definitely get picked up by a Danish team. Yeah. Same with Kyoshima, most likely for a French team. Rain, definitely okay for a Scandinavian team, not really a Norwegian team out there. But you see the Alo as well. That it's a lot of talent, but it's not. I think FaZe is actually the best example that to be a good team, you have to be more than just the sum of your parts, right? When you look at it on paper, it's a team with a lot of firepower. They can beat a lot of the teams, but they couldn't even make it out of the group stages for the better part of their roster.
Now, though, they found themselves in that semi-final, the same ticket that Astralis were given. We saw perhaps how that affected their gameplay. That was a factor discussed on the desk, but now FaZe have an opportunity to show that it does not necessarily have to affect them. Rain is a name we mentioned, and we were talking about him a lot. Myself and you, Sam, were talking about this hold on Nuke. He was absolutely detrimental to SK Gaming on this map.
Oh, absolutely. FaZe, Rain right here at outside. Versus SK was making an impact every single round. And this is the reason SK wants to ban Nuke now, because he just decimated them. All the time getting the first kill, constantly switching up, pushing aggressive at times, reading them very, very well. And even at times when he went 1-for-1, it was fine because he spotted all of them. And then the rest of his teammates are just able to make those quick rotates. And he just had the, look at the knowledge here to just say, okay, nobody else is coming there. I'm just gonna sit on the yellow, you know, pipe over there and just wait and wait and wait. But he's getting all the info, he's hearing everything, and he played incredibly well. And if Rain plays like that on CT side Nuke, like their CT side Nuke is unbeatable.
Speaking of unbeatable, shout out to Best Buy, expert service and unbeatable price. Now, let's move away from the FaZe roster and into NiP. These ninjas are a team that you just cannot forget about. The majority of our analysts have them to get to the grand final, if not lifting that trophy. I know, Daze, perhaps you've even considered that as well. Janko, they were your pick from day one. you have to explain to the guys at home as to why, because the Swedes have been under fire. You know, Freiburg's been criticized, Pitt has been criticized returning to the roster. There's a lot of criticism towards these guys, but you've got faith.
But definitely a lot of praise as well.
Yeah.
The thing that's being talked about the most is them bringing in Threat at the beginning of this year along with Pitt, and he reinvented their game, so to speak. They were another one of those loose teams, and he brought structure to the team. Now they have a lot of set executes. They're a lot more disciplined in their play. He's even, you know, reinvented the players themselves. Getride, who was known always for the lurk, that 4-1 split that NiP used to run a lot. Now Getride in some situations is used as the entry fragger, right? Because you send him in first in an execute, and once the players see who got the kill, they're thinking, oh, that's Getride, that's a fake, he's on the lurk, that's only him, only by himself, but actually the whole team is behind him, and he's been extremely proficient in that role as well. Forrest had a great game yesterday too, so I think that NiP has really a lot of strengths. The only problem, I mean the main one that people tend to talk about is that because of that they became a little bit one-dimensional. They only had the strategic playstyle, but now since Threat is not at events because of the coaching change, you can see that they're trying to find balance between the two with Exist in-game leading.
And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because Exist in-game leading is something I'd like to address. It never is his name raised as, you know, when you start talking about very proficient in-game leaders. He always was regarded as someone that was very capable leading his team. However, when we sit here on desk, it's rare that we find ourselves talking about Exist and his prowess in the leadership role. Sam, I mean, he's been around for forever. He's been guiding teams for forever. Do you consider him, you know, in that top echelon of leadership?
Well, before, in, you know, early days of NiP for the first, you know, 2 years, the in-game leading was so different, though, than it is now. Like, when I watch them now, I think Threat was probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to this team because of how he is in-game leading now. But before, it wasn't, he was in-game leading, but everything was so basic. I mean, it was literally complete default on T-side, on Dust 2, take cat control the same way every time. Everything was just so bland. And when teams got better and they started looking at, you know, seeing them and saying, oh, well, they just throw a flash and then peek here, I could take advantage of that, I could take advantage. There were so many holes in their game. Now with Threat, it has actually made Exist so much better, because now he has all these tools at his disposal that maybe he hasn't, you know, even come up with himself or something like that, but he knows how to utilize them, you know, and now we're seeing a NiP that's completely different than any other NiP I've seen before, and that's why I was so confident yesterday in saying, you know what, after seeing them, I think this is my pick to, you know, to win the whole tournament.
To win the whole tournament. Up against them, though, is an exciting FaZe. Daze says they could do damage, and actually we had an opportunity for Blue to speak to some members of FaZe. Intrigued to see what he managed to get out of them ahead of this game.
All right, guys, it's Blue here backstage. Once again, I've got Robin with me from the guys from FaZe. Overall, I mean, you guys had a great group stage. Let's talk a little bit about that. Were you guys surprised at all with how well you guys managed to play there and how you got here so quickly?
No, I wouldn't say we were surprised. The one thing I was most surprised of was that we did a really good CT sides. I think we did a really strong CT side on Train, first on against Heroic, and then we did against NiP on Overpass. We also did a great CT side against SK on Nuke, so that's the sides we had some problems with in the past, but with getting Keo in, it feels that we can do really, really strong CT sides, as well as T sides, of course.
And now you guys are going to be moving into play NiP here. They absolutely rushed through their quarterfinal yesterday and are looking really strong. Does that worry you guys at all going into this match now?
No. We know what we're capable of, and we had a really good match against them on Overpass in the group stage. We haven't done the veto yet, of course, but we feel really, really confident coming into this game for sure.
All right. So, of course, good luck with those matches, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the final. For the time being, though, we're going to head back over to the Xfinity analysis desk. So, Machine, take it away.
Thanks very much, Blue. Robban is a name that we've kind of yet to mention regarding FaZe and their success, and it was always, we were never sure how much he was contributing. However, whenever you speak to one of the individuals, whenever you have an interview, they were always talking about how much Robban was providing. It was, especially when they were just 5 individuals and they needed some structure. We claimed Robban was going to give them that. He was like a kind of poor man's Carrigan, and now they've got both.
I'm not really sure how much he was contributing throughout, because there were periods when he wasn't really that much with the team. And I think it was even the beginning of the year or end of last year that he joined the team. So still there were like 9 months where they couldn't make it past the group stages. So it was maybe perhaps he is, you know, more of a analyst, more of helping them with preparation than actually help. You know, we can't really know the inner workings of a team, but the results haven't shown much until Carrigan was brought in as well.
And preparation is an intriguing topic. I'd like to know, Daze, just from your personal experience or from what you've heard from other players, Like, genuinely, how much preparation comes into a tournament or even comes in mid-tournament when they're, sitting in their hotel room, knowing their opponent, knowing who they're coming up against? I assume we've got a bucket load of preparation being made.
Oh, absolutely. Mid-tournament, definitely, because we did have that day off. And especially, not just from FaZe, but from NiP as well. Overpass is probably a map that we will see. And NiP really struggled versus FaZe in the group stage on it. So preparation, I'm sure they looked at that. They probably have studied that and try to make adaptations for this upcoming.
Just briefly, I think that's maybe one of the pros of Threat not being with the team and not coaching as much, as he's actually just at home watching the games and preparing the team. And I think he's one of the best at actually doing that sort of preparation, just laying it out to the team, guys, you need to watch out for this, this, and this. And you can see how from an opponent to opponent, they really change their approach slightly and make those adjustments.
And then, of course, the only downside to that, to play devil's advocate, is that he can't valve change, and as well as him pursuing his education, he can't necessarily make that call and identify that mid-game. Yeah. And that's the downside to it. Yes, you get it afterwards, but it would be really nice to have that round 12, 30-second timeout where he tells you exactly where things are going wrong. So yes, NiP have managed to look stable without Threat behind them. It is just a question of how far they can push this. Can the Ninjas in Pajamas be the world-class team? Can they be a top 3 team again?
Knowing their comms, Alex, they really can push it all the way.
What?
Do you don't get this reference?
I don't get this reference.
Katowice, TeamSpeak.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm back. I'm back in the room. Thank you. I just think that basically Get Right's going to carry with his mustache. That's my primary... he actually criticized me for mine. He said I'd lost some hair on my lip. It's not as bad... Oh, God, these lips, these nails. Moving on. All right, let's get back into the topic of discussion. Of course, the teams are about to be walking back onto stage, get their bums in seats, and we can start getting excited about it. I'd like to know a player to watch from both of you. I'm trying to avoid talking about maps because that is to come, and so we are focusing instead on the individuals. A player to watch from either side from you, Sam, and a reason behind it.
Well, my player to watch is going to be Rain, because I'm assuming they will play Nuke, since we probably shouldn't get in the vetoes, but it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because most likely NiP will pick Nuke, since FaZe always bans Cobble. Now that means I want to see Rain and what he was able to do on that CT side of Nuke, and see how he's going to approach SK, and see what SK is going to do against that, since SK probably watched them, play, or sorry, NiP probably watched them play against SK. I'm really excited for that. I'm going to keep my eyes on him, because outside is definitely the most pivotal spot of CT side on Nuke.
And I mean, this was the result that made us get a little bit excited for FaZe, going undefeated through the group stage, and they did even meet the Ninjas in a best-of-1 environment. Now, I mean, if you do kind of cast your mind back, there was just a great deal of mistakes made by NiP. I feel like that was the biggest takeaway myself and Sam had.
Yeah, and in this clip you see, we saw Alu, after that game happened, I said Alu could have had 30 kills. He was the opera that NiP doesn't have right now.
Yeah.
Alu went bathrooms, he took a shot, he fell back safely. He went towards the banana area, whatever you want to call it, took a shot when they came out connector, was able to fall back. He goes towards long A, he's able to play there, fall back, always showing different looks, which makes it really difficult for NiP on overpass to, say, how do you do this? If you want to do it methodically, you have to use so much utility to push him off safely. Whereas when we saw NiP and Pit was opping, it was like, just go long A, post up, much easier to deal with. So this is the thing that I think FaZe needs to have in order to beat NiP in a best-of-3, is Alu has to be this dynamic player, because it is something that NiP doesn't have.
So one to watch, Rain on Nuke, should we get it? Alu just in general, because we want to be able to see if he can be that constructive AWP presence that FaZe do need. Yanka, what about you in terms of NiP?
I'm going with Forest, simply because it's just a pleasure to watch him play. He's such a calm and composed player. You see him never gets rattled, always has the calmness when it comes to the rifle or the pistol round. Just pay attention to Forest in pistol rounds. I think it's amazing the level of composure he has, and he's been having a good tournament. He's one of those X-Factor type of players that can really, go for a big play and make it happen for the team. I agree that NiP doesn't have an opper like Alu, but Forest, if he's, feeling confident, if he's feeling good, he sometimes goes for those types of plays, but more so on the T side.
And also, as great as these FaZe players are, the one thing that we didn't talk about is I still think the two best players in the server at all times are going to be Get Right and Forest.
Yeah, despite us praising FaZe for having some incredible individuals, you still fall back to the veterans.
I mean, it's interesting. 4 of the, I think, top 6 rated players are all from FaZe for this tournament, and the one that isn't there is Alu. So that's a bit of an anomaly in itself, that every individual has been having a great tournament so far. So now you question whether they can keep up that level of performance, which is highly unlikely. And now you're playing at the stage semifinals in a best of 3.
Yeah, and one of the reasons is because they just dominated the group play. I mean, their only close match was an overtime match versus Cloud9 on Mirage that they won. But besides that, I mean, 16-5 versus NiP on Overpass. Just a ridiculous performance. I think the only other team that got double digits was Mouse Sports at like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, and still, Mouse Sports couldn't win a single map in their group stage. And so it does just get you a little excited. I personally am kind of excited to see if FaZe can do this. I've already made it clear that I think they could even lift the trophy, but what does my opinion mean? But I do think it is still something to keep our eyes on, that it could be the change of guard. Oakland could be remembered as the event where FaZe were firmly plotted on that CSGO map, because we saw E-League, we saw this group stage, and so there is, I think, if this Oakland trophy was lifted, we start putting them in a very exciting category for 2017. I think that goes without saying, right?
No, I think even if they don't lift the trophy, if they just show something really well versus NiP and they play them close, in time, they're only going to improve on that. I'm not ready to say that they're going to win here, like you may be, Alex.
That's me, baby. That's me.
But I'm excited to see this team, improve and go further, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, you're ready, and so are the teams to go ahead and get ready to rock and roll. It's our second semi-final. NiP and FaZe Clan are about to make their way onto stage, so back to OJ to get things rolling.
Thank you very much, Alex. Indeed it is. It is time for our second semi-final. Oakland, are you ready for this? You feeling this? Bring the noise, because it's time to... What? Sorry? I've no idea what you're saying. I'm just doing something right now? Okay, cool. I'm just going to carry on doing this. Nice one, buddy. So then, it's time to bring our second semi-final on. I don't know what you're on about. Let's do our second semi-final right now then. Oakland, Oracle Arena. Let's go wild for the FaZe Clan! So the FaZe Clan enter the arena. Hey, they had faces on. You look like you're ready for this.
Yeah, as long as we face up, we have a chance.
Yeah, see what he did there. How are you finding this new team? Because since you've joined this team, it's been all gravy.
I think this is the best lineup FaZe Clan's ever had, and this is one we're going to show today.
Because I don't think you dropped a map in the group stages. You come here. Now, we saw in the last semi-final, we saw that Astralis, because they hadn't played yesterday, they were a little cold. Are you worried about that at all?
I don't think so. We have been preparing for this match. I think we already knew that we were going to face NiP when we started bracket, so I'm ready, the team is ready, and I hope the crowd is ready.
I think they are. You said this is the best lineup FaZe's ever had. What makes this lineup so good?
I think we can do everything. We have the individual skill, we have the experienced player, and we have the young players from Ice and Rain. So I think the perfect mix of everything. We can play fast, we can play slow, we can do everything.
And are you enjoying your new home?
I love it.
He loves it. There you go. Karrigan and the FaZe Clan, he goes off to his team. So we need their opponent, the other team trying to get a place in the grand final of the Intel Extreme Masters. Go wild for NiP! Here we are, semi-final time. You and the rest of the team. Have you got this in the bag?
For sure. I mean, They have Kerrigan, and I don't know what he's known for, but his former team was known for something to do with the semis, so.
I don't know what that is. What is that?
Richard Lewis knows what.
So, is this a 2-0? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for sure.
I love this. So Kerrigan has joined this team. I mean, they look good in the group stages. Do you not think this new lineup, Kerrigan calling the shots, this new in-game leader, have they not got something that you can't handle?
I mean, it's super different to play back in the group stage and play here on stage in front of all these people. So, I mean, we're confident that we're on both maps we're going to play, so we're looking forward to a 2-0 against them.
I love this man. I love this man. Here we go. Are you ready for the Are you ready for the semi-final?
For sure.
He's ready for the semi-final. Are you ready for the semi-final? Let's bring it on. The second semi-final. The Intel Extreme Masters is ready to go machine. Let's take this home, baby.
With pleasure, OJ, you fabulous human being. It is FaZe NiP, and Freiburg came out with a forked tongue today on the stage here in the Oracle Arena. Whew, okay, I'm recovering from that one.
Needs to attend a seminar, of course.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll make sure he does exactly that. He needs to go get a tan as well. Janko, let's start talking, though, more specifics. We have to start addressing maps here. Let's kind of go through it together as a unit. Sam, you can join us in this one. When you think about the two teams, FaZe, NiP, what do we, first, let's start with the bans. The first ban for each team, is it kind of concrete?
You do NiP?
Yeah.
You do NiP.
NiP.
That's
For NiP, it's Mirage.
Yeah. Okay, so guaranteed to see Mirage taken away from NiP. And if we were to talk about FaZe Clan, is this less easy to call?
They'll remove Cobble, and they'll pick Overpass, because they probably 16-5'd them.
Calling Overpass, return to Overpass. Janko, does that make sense to you?
It does make sense. It will be tricky, though, if that's the case. NiP will probably go for Nuke, because it is one of their strongest maps. Always, when you talk about Nuke and Nuke teams, NiP is definitely up there because of their T side. Now, that is going to be interesting if NiP actually goes for that, because Kerrigan was saying that Nuke was one of the maps, one of the actually few maps they put a lot of work in to try and make it a map they can play. So we saw it even in the group stages against SK, that they are capable of playing the map. So NiP has a very deep map pool. They might go for something else, but actually FaZe decides to switch things up and goes for Train instead of Overpass.
Yeah, that's surprising. I mean, if you 16-5 a team, you would assume that they would pick that. Nuke, of course, NiP is pretty much always going to pick that if it's not banned. But yeah, I am surprised by that.
This is where the mind games come in, right? So coming into this veto, NiP is most likely thinking, okay, we know the vetoes, we know our pick. They're most likely going to pick Overpass. Let's prepare mostly for Overpass. And now, in this sense, FaZe is thinking, okay, we're not going to pick Overpass, we'll pick Train. And they're aware of that, so they're preparing for Train already, while NiP is maybe expecting Overpass, and this is a sort of a curveball. FaZe, even when they had the old rosters, even when they couldn't make it out of groups, Train was always a map where they could like make upsets. I think even at some point they beat BP on it as well, so it's an interesting choice. You would, I agree with Sam, assume that they would go for Overpass simply because even before Kerrigan joined, it's been their best map.
Yeah, it has, but Train is a good map for them too. I think Alu does a really good job opping on Train. They do a really good outside setup on CT side where they go aggressive at times and mix it up like that, and they definitely have the firepower in regards to the riflers to play like in your face. So I think Train's a fine map for them. I'm surprised by that. I think if you watching Overpass versus them, they dominated them.
And they get it. That's what the beauty, perhaps, of this veto is not only do they feel comfortable on Overpass, they get their Train pick, and they've managed to guide it into Overpass again. Does that feel like a win for FaZe in your mind, Janko?
Definitely. When you look at the three maps, you think it's a win for FaZe. I'm surprised even more so by NiP vetoing Dust 2 here, because as Sam pointed out, their Dust 2 was pretty impressive, not just result-wise, but the way they played the map. It was really textbook. So that means that they themselves most likely believe that that Overpass was a fluke, in a sense that they will not have such weak of a performance again.
I do want to...
On their Overpass, the glaring weakness for them was, I mean, how many times do we see a NiP player run out on T side, not even look at where the CT player was and just get killed, and allow those players to have huge multi-frag rounds? So maybe if FaZe plays those static-y positions on CT side again and NiP is prepared for it, that might not happen again, and we could see a completely different result.
I mean, what's interesting as well is that as we do kind of guide our attention towards map 1, it is going to be Nuke, NiP picking that. And we have to remember that FaZe are no slouch on Nuke. We were surprised. I remember, Sam, we were like, let's assume, right? Karrigan hasn't put the homework in on Nuke. It's not something that FaZe necessarily would have focused on first. But, I mean, the result versus SK speaks volumes. 16-11. Is that more of a kind of reminder that SK aren't great at Nuke, do you think, Janko? Or do we start thinking, you know, FaZe could actually put up a fight map 1?
I think it's a bit of both. I didn't get to see much of FaZe from Nuke, but what I did notice is that they are one of the few teams that actually approach Yard as a team. Yes, sometimes it's Rain by himself looking around, but sometimes they actually send a player baiting for him, so they put him in a position to succeed. And I think it's very important. I think too many teams right now just solely rely on rotations instead of utilizing setups a little bit more, like having 2 players set up a crossfire and not just waiting for the T's to push, and then relying on having a good and fast rotation to swarm the choke point.
Actually bringing the fight to Yard then. But the question does remain. NiP chose Nuke. This was their map pick. In the past, I think, Sam, the words out of your mouth were NiP are the best Nuke team. And you need to go ahead and back that up now. Why? What is it that NiP do that makes this map the most scary for their opponents?
Well, I think the main thing that they do is how Get Right plays the Yard area. I don't think there's a better player at moving around the map on Nuke, pre-rotating and just predicting exactly what the other team is going to do. Get Right knows like I mean, he has been probably the best outside like Nuke player for quite a long time right now.
Right.
And the way they peek from heaven and throw flashes from heaven even, and then he peeks from big garage, like it just always seems one step ahead, and it makes them so dangerous on that CT side when he's always just lurking around and you can't really ever get in a position to make a play.
Hasn't this always been something that we praised Chris, or excuse me, Get Right with, is that he's always got such a good read. When we complimented his lurking, it was that because he understood the game and his opponents better than anyone else. Does that translate into his Yard hold?
I mean, sure. I think he's unarguably one of the most intelligent players in the game. That's why he was, you know, the best player in the world multiple times. It's not just about his mechanical skill, which is amazing, also known mostly for his spraying capabilities, but it's the ability to read the game, which means that he can put himself in a position to succeed most times. You rarely see him out of position in the middle of nowhere where it's extremely difficult for him to be useful to his team. So obviously that player is such a huge asset to any team because of his plays individually, but also because of how he enables his teammates to play better with giving them good info.
Interestingly enough, these guys in their head-to-head, they played 10 maps together against one another. But the only trending map, the only map that they've actually played in the past is Overpass, that has turned up in this best of 3. Everything else, they played a lot of Mirage, a lot of Cash. We've seen them on Dust 2 before. None of that's going to be going down. We actually, we are seeing a fresh start, excluding Overpass, which was, of course, played earlier in the best of 1s and even actually in the Season 4 Pro League finals. But other than that, I mean, it's going to be 2 maps we've never seen these guys play together before, and that's something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, what Freiburg said, I actually think it kind of rings true. You know, as FaZe, a lot of their players haven't been in the situation where they're, you know, in the semifinals, you know, in front of a big crowd and things like that. I think if you look at this as like in a vacuum, each map, you kind of say, okay, FaZe has a really, really good chance here. But the X factor is kind of, we don't know how they're going to react to this. Like, this is big pressure. You know NiP's not going to care. Like, they've been in here a million times. It's never going to affect them. Is FaZe ready to make that next jump? I'm not ready to call it that. You know, see that they're there yet, and now that's why I'm going with NiP.
You are happy to be surprised, though. I don't think there'll be any complaints if you see them take that step here, now, on stage. It'd be a very huge leap from FaZe, kind of going from unable to get to playoffs to going to a grand final on a $300,000 tournament. Janko, win conditions for NiP. Now, what do the Swedes need to do in order to make this a swift victory?
Considering that they're a favorite on the map and that they have such a deep playbook, especially on the T side, I think for them is not falling into a trap where, because, you know, they're pressuring perhaps FaZe's economy, they go for too many like weak buys. I feel that when it comes to full buys on Nuke, that NiP has a clear advantage. So it's that, and not maybe being disciplined enough not to give FaZe's individual players, especially when FaZe is playing CT, you know, an opportunity to get like multi-kills, to fall behind in trading and give them too many aim duels, because that's where FaZe actually excels. Having such strong individual players, that's what they're aiming for in a game against NiP.
So it's going to be down to the reads that NiP can gather and not giving FaZe the the fights, the brawls that they do seem to thrive within. I'm intrigued to see how Nuke does go down. It does look like there's a technical issue being resolved on stage, and actually it does look like it's going to be Keo who is having his issues. Fortunately, it means we can
Always
talk
the problem.
about... Damn you. you beat me
Always
to it.
problems with Keo.
Fortunately, we can talk about Keo away from the problem. It is that he's not only returned, we know that, but in terms of what this player provides to his team, seeing his return, I just want to make sure we actually give him notable praise and also appreciation, because we rarely find ourselves talking about him. It's easy to fall into the shadow of AZ, of Rain, of Alu. It's very easy to kind of just see him as a backbone player. Is that what you consider him?
Absolutely. He has to remember Q is a two-time major champion as well,
Exactly.
so he has the experience of playing at the biggest stage. Another very skilled player. You know, the fact that he was kicked from Envious, I don't think that was him, like individual or his performance lacking. I think it was more so Envious were in deep trouble and they just figured we need to make a roster change for something to be different, right? I think that his actually time in FaZe showed that he can still contribute a lot to a team, especially now when they actually have Kerrigan as well, so the players are being used properly within the team.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question. Sam, your opinion on Keo and being removed from Envy, being removed from a major winning squad and forced to find a new home. He seemed to have landed on his feet.
Well, they felt that he was like the most expendable player, especially because of Apex, you know, and Apex will just always fly in. He's not going to care. He's just going to run up Porch on Inferno, things like that. But Keo is something that this team kind of needed, and he really complements the other players very well because he's never going to be afraid to go in first. We always, you know, we'll see that from him. He's always going to take the battle if he needs to, and I think he does it in an intelligent way. He's not reckless. Right? And I think a lot of these players kind of need that. Somebody who has that experience, again, like you said, two-time major champion, not going to shy away from the moment, and then the other players can play off of him. Too often you see teams have players who, yeah, they're so skilled, so good, but they kind of shy away from the moment, from trying to make those plays. And when you have someone like Keo making those plays and going in first, the other players have to follow. Like if you're, you know, maybe you haven't played in a big, huge tournament before, but you see Keo go in there, you're going to go. Whereas if it is up to those other players who maybe haven't been in that situation, they might be, you know, kind of stutter stepping, you know, and things like that. Hovering, I call it. You almost never want to hover. You never want your first player to hover. That guy has to go.
Just basically, I would describe it as pussyfooting around the situation, is just not being willing, not being willing to commit to the situation.
Good expression.
Yeah, thank you. I know all about it. Let's start going for the predictions, because it is time. Nuke is going to be coming up after a break. It is perhaps going to be an extended break, given that I think that issue is still being resolved. But I want to know what you guys are calling it on our first map. It's NiP's pick. You've called them the best in the world at it. I'm assuming we've got 2 Swedish predictions coming up.
Yes.
Okay. Sam, same for you?
Yeah, I think NiP will win 2-0. I do think the one
He's done it again.
Well.
Yeah.
Every time.
He's like Natu V2.
Wait,
what did I do?
Back.
Whenever we ask for like a map prediction, just
you go for the
straight in.
No, just the map prediction. Yeah, I think NiP will win.
Okay.
Nuke. I just think that FaZe's win conditions, Allo has to be the best player on the server.
Yes.
Well, at times at least. I think his impact has to be very, very high. And I think that they really need Kerrigan to keep stepping up like he has, like winning those pistol rounds at times. A couple of times he had that ump and was remarkable with it. And then also picking up the secondary op at really good moments where he can change the round and pre-adapt, similar to what we saw SK do.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Sam. Thank you very much, Yanko. We are going to be taking a break, but our second semi-final is just a while away. It's going to be Nuke. Will the Ninjas prove that they are the best team on Nuke and start this semi-final with a bang? Or will Rain hold yard like only Rain can? We'll find out after the break.
Do you want to feel like a pro gamer? Wait no more. Greatness awaits you with Intel Extreme Masters certified PCs and notebooks. When you see unique IEM certified stickers on the outside, you will find high-grade components with Intel Core i5 and Core i7 processors inside. Every purchase includes in-game content and supports the total prize purse of Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. Feel like a pro.
Come on, one more?
One more.
One more.
Okay. Start the show! Yes! Totino's Pizza Rolls. Also, Totino's Stuffed Nachos.
Expert service, unbeatable price. Best Buy.
To expect that split towards A, so finding those three players coming through drop. There's 2 to go, and Guardian is not letting them lock to that name.
He has had lots of time. What was that? Surely it was on that one. Certainly was. Snacks goes down. And the Spanish superstar is going to try.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to IEM Oakland! 2 headshots in a row, and Phoenix about to bring it back now.
Welcome back, guys. A little quick on that, but we are just about ready to get this one started. Issues were had, problems.
Kiyoshimas were had.
There you go. We are about to get this one underway, though. We're going to be starting up on Nuke, and of course, if you're just tuning in, it is going to be NiP up against FaZe. And now, do you echo the sentiments of the announcer's desk saying that this is probably going to be an NiP affair, at least to start with?
I think on Nuke, NiP is the clear favorite. Just watching NiP, I think they have the cleanest rotations on the defensive side of this map. I think their defense on Nuke is just so dominant. It's going to be very, very difficult for FaZe to find a lot of success in the first half. But we do have to say, FaZe is one of the best-looking teams in the group stage, and they also suffer from the same thing that Astralis had, which was a couple days off in between these matches. So it's always the question of, will they be in the same form here in the semifinals that they had? And right off the bat, Get Right busting out the dualies.
Do you know what? I believe wholeheartedly in Get Right and these dual elites. Why not go for it? So we do have, I think it was Exist as well, going to be dropping those ones out, but Pit going to be there with the smoke and the flash to be able to set something up. But let's see what they go for. This is clearly with a bit of an intention behind it.
Yeah, an outside control. I mean, it's pretty passive since here, so they at least got to red box, and this looks like it's going to be a timing. That smoke covering their progress to the red box, and there's the pounce. Rain outside, though. He grabs 1 kill onto Exist. That's huge. He was phenomenal in this position in the group stage, but here he gets traded off by Forest.
This is really sick so far from NiP. They just need to stay alive now. Now they need to do the damage, but the dance begins. AZ going to try and find the frag towards Forest, but not so easy to get done. Buying time aplenty, and that bomb is ticking. They do have a kill on Alu, so that's not the problem. One of these two needs to land the shot right about now, and it is Forest eventually. So now Freiburg has to stop this. They are on this one. They're defusing right now, and there we go. In the last second, it's Alu. Gets the job done. It doesn't matter if he takes down anyone else in the end, but NiP, nice theory crafting to that round, but just some of those shots were clearly not landing.
Yeah, that was so very good from NiP, from NiP at the beginning. And then FaZe, I mean, the big thing is outside there was that little bit of delay between, was it Forest and AZ? And it looked like actually that was winning out for Forest, but he just stayed a little bit too long. That kit obviously being a massive benefit. Freiburg could do nothing in that situation. Trying to just kind of play the game of chicken, try and force him off the defuse, but it doesn't work with that door.
No, and it's kind of weird to see people like Forrest not just smashing those shots. He's normally, one of the pistol kings, or at least was, maybe these days not quite to the power of Dennis and such, but yeah, a little bit curious to see him not quite there.
Yeah, I mean, even AZ, you would have expected that shot to come out a little bit quicker, but I think Forrest, the part of it, I think his entire mindset in that one duel was to delay as long as possible. You don't need to get the kill, play the timing, and it just ends up not in his favor. So unfortunate from that respect, but a cool idea to start out with. They do get the bomb plant, so more than likely this round we won't see too much of an investment. I imagine they'll go for the AK-47s. Freiburg has a lot of money. And he's actually, okay.
Oh.
So, well, yeah, I mean, we could see it on the screen there as with that cool camera shot. But Freiburg buys the AK-47, drops it over to Forrest, who's going to have armor. So they're investing a decent amount into this. They're not buying out completely, but they're just saying, Forrest, what can you do with this AK-47?
No pressure, buddy. All on you to make the big play begin. And to be fair, if you know how FaZe play this one out, he knows he's going to have rain somewhere around this area. Now, Forrest is probably playing ahead of what FaZe would expect to come up against here. So he's got a little bit of a shot on this one, and there it is. He's got to land it cleanly, because now the game's up and doesn't land it as smoothly as he needed. Now you can imagine Alu's going to be watching, has his eyes on it, playing from lockers, but Forrest has got himself down towards Secret. So now there's a bit of a problem with FaZe. They have to keep in mind that lower could be an issue, but Forrest is playing for this. There it is, taps away, finds Alu, and AZ sat there going, I don't know if I like this anymore.
Yeah, well, I don't think Alu, that might have been a little bit too much of a peak. No reason to commit there. You have Forrest contained. You know he has an AK-47. It's just really the only strength in this tactic from NiP is this one AK-47, so don't challenge. Either way, now we've gotten lower, and he's got Pith with him. There's Kerrigan with 1 kill, and it's going to try and be an entry. There's the dink, and AZ falls. Freiburg gets one out of Kerrigan as well. Rain chimes in, but it's down to a 2-on-2. The bomb is in ramp room, though, and Keo is able to at least allow Rain to try and win a 1-on-1.
So it's all down to time now. 43 seconds. Rain up against Forrest. Rain knows where the bomb is, and he knew where Forrest might have been. Now, maybe not so sure. Now, Forrest has it all to do. He can define how he takes this situation. He's already got 2 kills. Let's see if he can make it a third. Creeps around towards just underneath heaven, and Rain's still not sure at this point, but he's going to have to keep in mind that the bomb has to be recovered at some point, but then also, what if Forrest just plays time, plays for the push, and now it's all going to come down to this. Oh, Forrest looks the wrong way. Rain gets the job done. And FaZe will pick up round 2.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that one-on-one, these frequently come into timings. And look at this attempt at a ramp from Get Right just being a nuisance, just trying to hold out as long as he can, but Kerrigan's still getting 2 kills out of it. A lot of damage done to the economy, though, and NiP, oh, they're going to go right back at it. Yeah, why not? 4 AK-47s. This is an impressive buy, and again, it might be a situation where FaZe gets caught out unawares.
This is interesting. All right, NiP, what you got here? Get Right is playing the line here. He's going fast on this. He wants to make a bit of a play, maybe get ahead of the smoke. Kerrigan, though, is watching this, and he did have support early on. Now Kerrigan not going to be boosted up this time, playing from the ramp itself. He's got to contain this somehow. He's seen at least one, drops up a nade, and he's going to have to call for support. Whether it be Alu coming around, who knows? But for now, it looks like NiP do have that ramp room. They've got the control, and now for FaZe, they know what's up. They know what's coming their way. They know there's AKs. But my lord, look at this play already from NiP.
Yeah, this early pressure in this round has given him so much room to work with. FaZe not expecting it. Rain again towards the outside area, another big duel to win. But Get Right is trying to find any kill, and Kerrigan plays this so smart. Look at all the time he's buying. Now the smokes are going to come out from NiP. They're out of utility, though. That's all they have. They have to make good use of this, try and get this bomb planted. It's going to be so tough. There's AZ peeking at an awkward angle.
AZ's going to have to make this one work a little bit more than this. He needs to allow the rest of FaZe to get to positions to assist, to get somewhere. But look at the plant, already going down. Pit, completely safe as well. Done. This is a 5v4 off-plant situation on Nuke. This is very rare. So now Exist finding AZ is big. That's going to at least even this up. But now FaZe can go for any point. Get Right not safe from the angle, but the trades come in and the T-side holds on. That's the important factor here. If Exist can keep doing this sort of work, he is doing wonderfully. 2 already. And now they dance on that bomb. They are waiting for it to take down on Forest. Patient as ever. Kerrigan and Alu, they've got a kit as well, and oh, they back right into it. Forest now just eyeing it up, and Alu left with no options really here. Desperate to take a fight, try and find a way in. He will not find anything. Forest will get the kill, and NiP, gutsy play to come back into that round.
Forest just baiting that round, and it's a smart situation to bait and just hide in that room. Don't make your presence known. The bomb is so close to you. Easy couple kills for him. The big thing was that actually with the rotations, FaZe actually looked good there. They at least had all of NiP after the bomb plant cordoned into the site. There was really, I mean, they knew where everyone was. It was just great trading from NiP to open up different avenues to find different positions to play the post plant, and Forest still just being a clutch player. So it's 2-1, and because of the damage dealt on the previous side, all FaZe can bring to this fight are pistols. This pressure, the economic pressure from NiP has finally given them an advantage.
And NiP look like they've got so much depth on this map so far. We're going to see how well they fare against pistols with a bit of armor. It's incredibly tough. We've seen it time and time again. These Deagles, the CZs, they work on this map. But at the moment, NiP keeping it clean, getting that map control, getting down towards Secret. The only danger man really at the moment, while Rain could cause a problem if he comes around at the right time, but it's AZ close by. So again, FaZe giving them a lot of room here, saying, all right, take what you can. We're going to hold these angles and try and find a way back in if we possibly can find one.
It'll be interesting to see how this goes. NiP going for a lot of outside presence, a lot of outside control to those stairs. That's where Rain was, and we saw just in the group stage him defending that outside area was so strong. 2 players here for FaZe. The Molotovs come out to force this away. Rain close up. Are they going to check him? There's Kerrigan with the kill on a Get Right, and Pith, this might just be a free kill.
Rain?
Trigger discipline, there it is. 1 kill for Rain. Was hoping for more, but couldn't find it.
That's good enough, though. They're in a 4v3 now. This gets a little bit dangerous for NiP. They're feeling maybe a little bit more disjointed. Freiburg being the one with the bomb, they need to maybe secure another angle, find something here. They're going to go for the plant. That's incredibly tough here. And actually, Exist needs to land the shot. He doesn't. Kerrigan gets played in off the back of it, and now it is madness going on. Forrest wants to take matters into his own hands, and he's doing just that, but he can't do it enough. AZ pulls it back in, and now Freiburg left in the 1v2. The man who, well, let's say, gave it all in the interview now needs to come up with the goods. And he should. Let's bear in mind, they've got P250s, but they do have a kit. But great timing! Oh! AZ, that shot was beastly. And they've got the kit, they've got the defuse, and FaZe come right back into this.
That is an amazing round from AZ. The shots with the P250, not more impressive than that last one. Just a very narrow timing for him to hit that shot before the doors close. That is disgusting, and NiP get responded on. Great damage done by FaZe early on when NiP takes that site. And we're going to see a pause coming out from NiP after that one. And it's
the reason we're laughing is one said technical, one says tactical for the pause. So
why not?
Yeah, no. It is tactical. So they are going to have a discussion over this one. And this is quite an early pause, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it might just be the disappointment, obviously, when you have the AK-47s and you have a gun round after resetting phase early on of grabbing that advantage and lose the pistols. That could be something you just want to make sure you don't slide into just a little bit more tilt. You want to keep the emotions in check, and also maybe something went wrong. Maybe there was some kind of communication error that they want to make sure moving into the future, because it does seem like outside to lower is going to be a tactic that NiP likes to run early. I mean, this has been something they've done very, very much in just the first 4 rounds of this half.
Again, though, NiP, it looks incredibly competitive so far. Scoreline or not, moving that out of the way for a second, this has been a very close couple of rounds coming through. So for now, FaZe have been the ones to stabilize. They've kept the score going in their favor. But again, NiP, you can't write these guys out, and they're going right back on this buy as well. So again, NiP not resting, not slowing down. It is time to get back into this one. 3-1 is the score right now, sitting in the pocket of FaZe. But NiP relentless at trying to turn this back around.
Yeah, I mean, they've bought every single round in this half. I mean, always they've had an AK in at least every single round after the pistol. So they do not want to give up early control of the economy over towards FaZe. They want to make sure that money is always low, and they have it in a pretty good spot. You can see there's a shotgun on Keo, Alu just trying to spam through the smoke, and Rain playing it pretty passively as to what we've seen in the past.
And to be fair, FaZe do give a lot of the map up here. They'll let them take a lot of work, but this is where the buck stops. It's going to be Carrigan. Spots it out, backs away, calls for backup. Alu's kind of lurking around, keeping an eye on the fact that maybe they could split somewhere from this. And Get Right's going hunting, and this is a really all-encompassing hit. It's all over the map. You've got players towards A Outer, going down towards Secret. Carrigan has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. He's being pinched in on. NiP just need to land the shots, and they do. That is Pit doing the damage. Now 5v4. You've still got AZ, and we know what he did last round, so do not write him off of it. Oh, okay. There's your karma in action. Keo now left. All right, doing some work with the Mag 7, but can't get it done in the end. A little bit of a shame for AZ there. It kind of came tumbling down, but...
A bit of a shame for Carrigan as well. I mean, he just could not get comfortable. He could find nowhere to just have a little bit of breathing room. That was so aggressive from NiP everywhere across the map, and that's where that's going to be the interesting part, because the way we've seen. I mean, this round in particular, how quickly that NiP is able to get down those secret stairs. That's where maybe FaZe is saying, Rain, do your aggressive thing outside. I mean, they have been giving up a lot of control in all of these rounds, a lot of space over to NiP, and they're going to abuse that if you give them the chance.
Well, it's starting to already. Rain, though, going to spell out at least one towards Outer. Going to connect that. Exist. Head goes rolling to the floor, but a couple of players already making their way through, and Rain has to respect this. They can creep up now towards the garage, so he's got to back away a little bit more. And again, NiP, not necessarily rinse and repeat. It's not the same as we saw last round, but consistently exploiting the fact that they can get down secret. They don't get much challenge, but AZ waiting so patiently here. Desperate for someone to peek around. Nice presence of mind from NiP. Not giving up any angle, not letting them take any sort of spots there. Just going to be clearing out meticulously so far.
Only Alu down here quite yet. I think he's been spotted out that window. He has been. There's one more. That's Rain with the scout. He makes it work. Pretty close range, but too many different angles he has to worry about, so he does fall. Keo's now down into the vents. NiP haven't made their way into the site. This could be dangerous. There it is. Oh no, he can't get the kill. He's got to fall back, but Get Right's ready. Carrigan now with the scout. 2 big kills. He's only got 1 left inside of the site, and now he knows it.
Carrigan left in the 1v1 up against Pit. Pit needs to get that bomb on. Oh my god, the timing. Carrigan going back in. Spots it out and gets it! Carrigan, that is sick. Huge play coming out already, just decimating NiP. As soon as they look like they're back in the game, as soon as they look like they've stabilized, they get shredded by a round like that.
That is actually incredible. All 5 kills for FaZe that round are with the scout. Carrigan with 3, Rain with the original 2, so that's a pretty good investment. That's a pretty good return that you get from buying that. And another pause coming out here for NiP. You mentioned the other one was very early on in the half. Well, they've now used 2 in the first 7 rounds.
I don't think we've seen anyone going for this many in this sort of short
I think the notion for it is because it can be so CT-sided. If NiP, they know the economy is low, and if they just break this FaZe economy and they can get 2-3 more rounds this early in the half, they're going to be feeling very, very comfortable. I think that's got to be the big goal that NiP is going for, is that one economic break early on to give themselves some breathing room.
And you've got to feel a little bit for NiP, because it looks like technically they're doing quite well in this moment. The way they're taking the sites, they're getting plants, they're getting a lot of control, but then they've lost out to, well, it was AZ before going nuts, and now you've had Carrigan stepping up to the plate. It's pretty frustrating as a player that they're going, well, we're doing everything right apart from winning the rounds at the end of the day, and that's what counts. So back underway in this one. 4-2 now being the scoreline. FaZe still in control of this. NiP pushing pretty hard at this point, though. And again, let's see what we have coming up here. Rain adjusting a little bit, playing a little bit of a different angle, not by much, and now Forest maybe looking to exploit that, maybe find a way to pressure. This is a little bit of a different approach.
Rain's got to be thinking they've gone outside so much and they've never attacked a mini. That's got to be coming at a certain point. And actually, it even looks like Freiburg's aware. There's the peek and the spray down. Easy kill. He's going to go for more. He's not going to be able to do it. Great damage on the pit. Alu's got to be careful. And, I mean, he just gets dropped by Exist. So the next big step is Forest is going to encroach upon that position, and no one from FaZe is ready for this.
I'm a little worried about that bomb being where it is, but for now, Forest is the biggest threat on the board, and he's going to get AZ down. And now it's Karrigan and Keo, and they are not in positions to do pretty well here. Karrigan's kind of stuck. He can't really go up now that Forest has done that, unless he finds this angle. It is possible. There it is. 1-for-1 traded out in the end, and Exist closes it down. But NiP adjusting and finally finding a little bit of work.
And it's sick to see NiP, they get those kills outside and they're in all these advanced positions and everyone just freezes and everyone says, we know there's going to be a response. And that's the big thing. If you get those kills quickly enough, because NiP is being very aggressive early on, if you get those kills early enough, you know there has to be a response. And once again, FaZe, neither of these teams giving up any rounds in this first portion of the half.
No, it's like who will break first between these two teams. At the moment, finally the money's sitting a little better with NiP, and FaZe have to respect that. But last time we saw AZ go off and get those incredible kills, well, the final kill being the important one. So again, this is something incredibly important now. FaZe have been doing damage, and I wouldn't put it past them to do some again, but NiP going through the motions here.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a game of economic chicken, and now once again, outside control for NiP. This could all be a setup for later on for some kind of dangerous upper execute. If eventually FaZe just has to start stacking this, that's when NiP can switch it up. And they know FaZe has to respect the amount of bodies they've been putting outside. So it will be interesting to see how this changes as the half goes on. Rain completely blinded. That's a nice flash. And Forrest has the angle. That Deagle is still dangerous, though. Not landing the shots. And now with two NiP members there, nothing left for him to do. Although AZ, again, getting a kill with the pistol round, but the reload takes far too long.
Yeah, the three remaining players now from FaZe are actually in an interesting spot. Get Right's timing is everything. He's going to find Karrigan, but I don't know if he saw Keo or not.
The Get Right lurk, a classic.
As ever. It's just, but I said, I don't know if he saw Keo, but the adjustment, that's the spray. That's a Get Right you can depend on. Just some random angle, Keo appears, and of course he'll be the one to land it. But now, Alu, what can you do here?
I mean, the big thing is, this is great for NiP. This is exactly what they wanted. Now they've broken the economy and they've survived this pistol buy, which they weren't able to do previously. And now they're going to have that exactly what they want: 1 to 2 free rounds against unarmored pistols. This is already going to be a good half. They've won the initial stages of this match.
Yeah, and it was just, you know, two heavyweights going back and forth, blow for blow here, until one finally seems to have broken.
Key to note as well, because Daze brought it up on the analyst desk repeatedly, that he thought Alu would have to be one of the best players in the server and having phenomenal impact. He's yet to find his legs here on Nuke.
Yeah, we saw, to be fair, he wasn't outstanding on their CT side. He was perfectly fine, should I say, when we saw them play it earlier against SK. It was Rain who kind of shone, you know, first and foremost, then AZ, and Alu was just okay, but we haven't seen that big step up just yet. But here we go again. FaZe going to be having to just accept these Deagles and the upgraded pistols, but once again, NiP hunting out for this one. But this time, Rain's got some company. He's not all alone here. He's got AZ down there with him, and Alu playing a little bit more attentively towards Secret. So again, this is a response, it feels like, of consistently hitting this sort of area. Eventually FaZe has to respond to it.
Yeah, and this could be, I mean, they could just be walking into the trap that NiP is setting here with so much emphasis on outside. It'll be interesting to see if they do it come gun rounds, if they maybe try and put an op outside this time. Maybe they say, Alu, like, stop this pressure. Because at the moment, they don't have an answer for it. NiP's been able to get down these secret stairs into the lower bomb site repeatedly. AZ outside, taking this duel at range. No shots really connecting, and there's Alu pushed up. He gets dropped by Pit. Nice aggression, and they found an avenue towards the lower site. They've lost a player, though, and Forrest has to pick up the bomb.
Okay, that's recovered, as is the AK, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but it gets a bit dangerous at this point, because they're not all together. There's three players here. They're starting to kind of pull themselves back in line, and Get Right finding Rain is brilliant, but Keo's still on the site, playing from the balcony area, just kind of up, waiting for a bit of an off angle. He's going to find it, gets an AK2, can't switch up to it quick enough. The trades are good for NiP, and now it's just AZ. Now, I'm not going to say, you know, never say never with this man, but 1v3 after plant is not going to be easy, especially on 7 HP now. I think this one is all but over. Looking for the angle, can't find it. NiP get another plant, keep it relatively clean, 3 alive, and keep themselves in this.
And the bummer here is FaZe is in a tough spot. This might be a tactical pause of their own if they want to talk about what they're going to buy here, because they might feel pressured to invest a lot. It doesn't look like they're going to, but NiP already going to be up towards 6, so it is a double eco round after that, or a double save.
This is painful.
Yeah, this hurts on the CT side.
But this is something you were talking about as well, though. It's why NiP felt relentlessly buying into this was a good idea, because if they break it, this is what happens, and this is a very good T side.
It's a dangerous gamble to make, but I mean, on a T side of Nuke that can be suffocating at times, it's not the worst thing in the world, because they did actually break it, as long as you're getting the kills repeatedly.
This is going to be a nice hit here. This is very choreographed from NiP, and it basically allows this singular route to appear for them. Line of smokes come through, mollies are plenty, and this is gorgeous. NiP just really showing what you can do with this map. They've clearly put a lot of time into this. And if you're FaZe, you might be wondering, is this a good choice for us at this point? But we'll find out still. Only into 10, rounds gone so far. We'll be fine. Now, Freiburg, he's done the job. And now looks for more. FaZe completely clueless as to what's going on here. Freiburg now, ring a roses. Forest is going to find them first, but Freiburg, he's right next to them, and Forest, he's going to be walking around to this, and there we go again. Another kill comes in, and this is all looking very clean until Carrigan got a little up close and personal, and Kyo's going to try and do something with the CZ. Maybe the Mag 7 will have a better chance, but no. NiP start to get strides ahead now in front of FaZe.
Yeah, they're really, I mean, this is the big stand that FaZe has to have. They need to go on a run here. The money is built up on the NiP side as well, so and look at Forest. 16-4, having quite the half so far.
And he's been kind of playing a lot of that outside area, playing against Rain, and we credited Rain massively with how he was playing outside in that previous game against SK. He was brilliant, absolutely brutal when he was playing it, and this is the first time I'm looking at this and thinking, well, like, the difference of ability he's come out with here is just gorgeous. And Forest, when he plays well, you know it's something to be enjoyed. We haven't really seen much T-side AWPing from NiP. We haven't seen much of this at all. They haven't really gone to it. The 5 rifles have been working incredibly well here.
Yeah, and Alu has the AWP now, and they actually haven't switched anything up in that outside defense, so there's no stack. Rain still very much, I mean, we mentioned it again, how good Rain played outside against SK. Well, this is much more passive. He's not pushed forward when the wall of smokes comes up.
He's not on the little post.
Yeah, right. Well, now again, this upper execute is going to come into play, and Pitt's in a perfect position to lurk this.
Okay, look at these mollies. It's just completely covered the site. Now, no one's actually pushed off this particularly towards the upper side, but everyone else has gone outside. They are up in the rafters, essentially. Look at this play. NiP just completely wrapping around the map here, but Alu stopping Pitt means it becomes a little bit more tricky, and AZ's still in a good spot. And you've got Kia up in rafters, so again, this is not easy for the taking for NiP, but get right, he's got to see them. He takes the shot, takes down Alu, and that is the go signal. Look at NiP respond. All the players get straight down towards lower, and this one is looking like it's in the bag, unless Kyo could do something quick here, possibly. Not too sure. He's dancing on those vents. He doesn't want to go alone. Waits for AZ.
That was a sick tactic, and it's such a tough spot to be in if you're Kyo and AZ. AZ's already brought down low, and he's dropped. Kyo, he's just got to save. He has no chance of getting back into this round. He's going to go for a little bit more, does find a kill. Get Right and Forrest are low, but with the positioning, there really should be no way he can win this round. And Exist just here to stop him from saving. He's going to do it. But that round is beautiful. We now have the tactical pause from Kerrigan, so FaZe taking a timeout, but this works so well because it's an upper execute from NiP, but they wait patiently in lobby. They're just distracting. They're keeping all the eyes in that upper bomb site on Hut, on Door, on Mini. Meanwhile, 2 members of NiP circling around outside. And again, because all the space that they've got from Rain, who's playing it passively, they can get all the way and wrap around to heaven.
And this is such a nice bit of play, and it's so many levels. Let's look at the fact that they've set the precedent. They're going to be taken outside towards Secret. They've forced Rain to play that passive game. Now they get freedom. Now they can work their way across that Nuke catwalk, and we haven't really seen that many teams go to this map with these kind of approaches. You're really abusing that Nuke catwalk. Of course, they've been playing outside because it's there, but not with this huge tactic in mind. It's really enjoyable to see a team who's gone to Nuke and really started to work with it. This is what we're seeing here with NiP, at least to my eyes. Their T side is outstanding.
Oh, their CT side is no joke as well. So even on the next half, I mean, you got to think for 7 rounds for NiP on the T side, this is good. This is already a very difficult hill to climb for FaZe. But this is the big thing now because NiP have established the fact that they can have control of outside basically whenever they want it. And there's so many different tactics you can build off of outside control. You can go down to lower as we've seen. You can push towards garage. You can use the rafters. You can go in towards mini. So many options open up to NiP once they establish control, and they have FaZe playing it so passively. So much respect being given, unless he has a scout. Unless Rain has a scout, in which case he's just going to take off someone's head. And the second one, Pitt falls, spamming through the smoke because why not? But a huge round for Rain so far.
It's a massacre. How can he do this and not again? Don't you dare. Rain, he's got a chance, and Forrest has to respect this. Duck and cover, because oh my word, Rain is close to landing these, and look at NiP respond. It is not a pretty, and that's not going to spread far enough. He's fine, but it means that Forrest can escape.
Yeah, I mean, no more danger from that position for the moment until that fire subsides. Force is going to go right at him, though. Even anticipating that kind of a play, but It's a 3-on-4. NiP, one man down, and they're being very patient. Rain.
Oh my God,
he
Rain
tagged
tagged him!
Ooh.
This guy is just a beast individually. There's no taking away from any players in FaZe what they can do as individuals. That is nuts. It's meant that this round gets a little bit dangerous though as well. You've still got a Deagle in play, you've got the 5-7 there and the Mag 7. It's still a little dangerous, but these are experienced players. You know how they're going to approach it. They've been methodical in the way they're playing down towards the side. Gerright's already got some a little bit of safety. Maybe not completely though. If you look where AZ is, there's still danger here, but we'll find out if they check on this, if they keep it in mind, as this could still be a big problem. Forrest looks like he wants to check it. Good idea, good theory crafting, but the theory doesn't always come through. Now the bomb is going to go down. It's a 3v2, but NiP have everything they need to lock this one down. Maybe a little light on utility, maybe not in the best positions in the world, and Carrigan looks hungry. He wants to get this one done. He's chasing it down, but he's going to forego chasing and go straight towards Gerright. Now 1v2. He has to define this, and oh, round we go. Carrigan not going to get it done. Gerright buys the time, wins the dance,
The
and
man
just
with
comes
the
on top.
mustache. Not bad movement, using sound so perfectly in that situation. You got to feel for Rain. What an opening to this round with these 2 kills. That one is nasty as the flashbang comes out as well. So FaZe, again, this is the round that they have to buy into. I mean, last round, they bought themselves a chance with just that scout with some pistols, but again, they're on the rifles. Again, Alu has an AWP, and they need to stop NiP here.
Oh, this is different. Look, FaZe are finally going a little bit aggressive outside, possibly. Like, we saw that eventually with SK, but no, they've kind of gone down, and now Alu's playing outside. A variation we've not seen yet. Again, the line of smoke will pretty much abscond him away from being able to see anything, but that's big. Finding Forrest is the perfect start. They haven't had many one-man advantages to begin this one off. So finally, we've seen a response from FaZe. It's just taken a long time to get to this, and now here's the response from NiP. Straight back in towards ramp, and they 1-for-1 trade out. They do get the control, and the bomb carries on.
Yeah, but Freiburg's been brought pretty low, so nice defense from Carrigan. He's got the information, he's slowed it down. It's looking like this is at least going to be a bomb plant, though, as the Molotovs, the smokes come out to cover the planter. AZ's down here already with Rain. The timing not with him quite yet. Exist does manage to cross over, and Freiburg's gonna get aggressive in vents. There's a kill for Exist, and he lives afterwards. It's down to a 3-on-3, although Exist does fall. AZ doing some work. And Pitt and Freiburg trying to cover each other, and Pitt's exposed everywhere. An easy kill for Alu, and FaZe get their 5th.
I like the adjustment. Finally seeing Alu going towards the outside, finally taking more of an active role in this, something we were waiting to see if we could see more from this man. We were literally just, bated breath. We rarely saw him do it against SK, to be honest. This is not something that's just, a response to NiP. He didn't particularly play out there much. That was Rain's domain. He kind of helped out from maybe Heaven, maybe Lockers, but now this is a nice response. But I want to see, because clearly NiP have had to think, at some point Alu's going to come over here. So they've got to have something in mind as well.
Yeah, I mean, that could be what they're looking for. Now that they know Alu is pulled away from ramp room, pulled away from rotating up Heaven with the AWP pretty quickly. Now it's what's the response from NiP? Because we've seen they've had a couple upper executes, and it's looked very, very nice. But again, going to see if maybe FaZe is sticking to this. So we are back in game. And just waiting. I mean, it's a pretty passive round so far, so we haven't missed anything. Just some utility to slow down the rushes. But it does look like NiP this time. That one-op outside, it's not there again, but they are going towards an more inner-focused attack.
I want to see if they commit, though, fully. It looks like they will. And they're waiting for whatever the moment is. Smokes to dissipate, timing, whatever it may be. Keo now has to go anti-flash and hope for the best. The absolute carpet bomb comes in. Great counter flash, but it's only a 1-for-1 trade. Get Right defines the site. It's now NiP's. The bomb's yet to go down. There's still room to work here for FaZe. They can still play back into this. Carrigan's pretty quick there, getting towards Radio, so again, he can start playing the pressure game. But look at NiP, they're actively looking for this as well. They're getting to nice after-one positions, and we've not seen FaZe really show just yet.
Now that flashbang blinds 2 players in mid. That's going to slow down the retake. This has been great from NiP. They've even got a player get right up Heaven. Who else? Carrigan with the kill on the flank. This angle is so tough to clear out. Rain responds, but it's a 1-on-2 now. Pitt and Force. Pitt's been spotted out, and he's got it. This is desperation. He almost has to stick this. He's going to try and bait them out into the open. Here comes Force. He's going to take out Pitt. Rain manages that perfectly, but he has to stick it. There's no time for this, and Freiburg wins it anyways. That's the round for NiP. 9-5.
NiP, the book on Nuke for them looks like it's pretty vast at the moment. They have so much to go to. They look so good at it. And at the moment, FaZe haven't been able to fully stop it. Look at that run of rounds here.
Well, Keo dodges everything defending the upper side. That was really nice, but he spent so long trying to dodge flashbangs, trying to dodge smokes and utility, that Freiburg, being aggressive, was able to wrap around that bomb site and get that kill. Now, he was the only defender, so there again is that kind of lean towards outside for FaZe, how much pressure NiP's put on it. It draws one player, one defender away from that inside bomb site, and everyone's stuck behind the smokes and the choke points. Rain again with the scout outside though, so don't count him out. And NiP, once they know the economy is a little bit beat up on the FaZe side, because it's been a hard reset, one win for FaZe, and then the following loss, they go right back towards this outside hit.
I am in absolute awe of how NiP are playing this out so far. I think things can change. Again, I don't want to doubt FaZe at this point. We know what they can be like, an incredibly explosive team, but they got to stop it before it starts. And when Forest is doing that, what can you do to stop it? The man's an absolute beast, and AZ just going to swing into it, try and take a bit of a, I guess, a low blow there, but it's not going to happen. And NiP just going through the motions, it looks like. And there you go. Forest is on fire.
Yeah, he's feeling very comfortable, you could say. Just down to Rain with that scout. He's already brought down to 40 HP. Freiburg just going to be aggressive, going right at him. He's going to win that duel. 10 rounds for NiP on the T side, but it was tactically dominant behind the incredible performance from Forest.
When Forest plays like that, you start to get terrified watching this lineup. It's not often it happens, to be fair. He's a consistent man. He can hit these highs, but seeing that already is something to be nervous about. And, well, they had big words at the start phase, but they need to come up with the goods now. They need to deliver. That second half of FaZe will be everything for their tournament life. We'll see if they can get this one done. So, guys, do stay tuned.
Intel Extreme Masters Oakland is brought to you in part by Intel, HyperX, G Fuel, Kingwin, iBuyPower, Best Buy, Totinos, Acer, and Xfinity.
Welcome back to the semi-finals. We are halfway into the first map in this best of 3 here between FaZe and NiP. It's 10-5 on the half. NiP's T side looked incredible, but FaZe has a chance to come back, but they got to start operating on all levels now.
This is where it gets to a really difficult spot, because I mean the big story earlier today in the SK versus Astralis was how good SK's CT side of Train can be. In my opinion, from whenever we see NiP hit these levels individually, their CT side on Nuke is a very similar situation. It's just so dominant. They've been playing this map. It's been one of their best maps for a long time. Rotations are good. Pitt's going to be tested early here, and he stands to the challenge. One quick kill and the nade. All of FaZe is still low. Pitt, the defense from NiP. There it is.
What a way to start this one out for him. What a way to come back to the stage with NiP as well. This man has just came back to getting towards the form he feels comfortable to play in, but there it is.
And yeah, that's the kind of round that'll get the crowd chanting your name. That is sick stuff. Forrest, though, I mean, the nade from him does so much work.
And like lambs to the slaughter, FaZe will have to go and deal with this again, but they will bite back. AZ gonna find Get Right to begin with. And now, the 4 players remain for NiP. Freiburg, though, playing quite the usual position for him. Up on top, bites in, just weighing it out. Gonna find Karrigan real comfortably in FaZe, not really making progress here.
Well, Rain's making a little bit, and AZ's covering him, so they actually don't know this. He's just taking some damage, he's not gonna be aware. Oh, this is beautiful setup. Oh, he disappears on the ladder. Like the namesake, what a ninja. And Rain is gonna find this upper bomb site a little bit clear, more clear than he expected it to be.
But the problem is if you make the call, oh, the site's clear, and then there's still like a Freiburg, you know, lurking around, prowling away, but tamed he might be, Rain will take him down, and now we're in a 3v3, and it looks a little bit more dangerous because they actually have the higher ground, they have these good positions, they have vertical advantage with Deagles, which is actually pretty deadly. And now, what do you do, NiP? You have 1 kit, 2 rifles, that's a lot to lose here. And they're gonna go for it. Rain waits so patiently, happily to welcome that one. I don't know what they can get done here, if I'm honest. FaZe are in really good positions, but timing. AZ swings down, and now it's go time for NiP. They've got to make this count, and quick at that. Already, Alu waits. Rain takes a bit of a fight there. Alu comes up with the goods, and now there it is, the turn of events. All off the back of a bit of work coming in from Rain. Again, this man can work off so little and bring so much to the plate.
Yeah, just by positioning. I mean, that was almost like a checkmate situation for FaZe because they had someone up in heaven. So NiP, they kind of had to take that gamble and go up from there because they also had a player in vents, and you cannot just initiate a retake with that vents player. It's too difficult to get out and have any impact. So you have to coordinate that, pop up the event with the 1 player in mini, and then, I mean, just having the high grounds above heaven. That mobility by Rain and the cover by AZ wins that round for FaZe.
It was actually really enjoyable to watch. Again, this is what I want to see between this game. I want this to be a really competitive matchup. We've seen real class from NiP on their T side, and I want to find the response from FaZe because FaZe looked, you know, if you didn't see the games during the group stage, you would have missed out seeing how good FaZe can be on this map on occasion. We saw them absolutely tear apart SK piece by piece. It was something to watch, and I want to see FaZe be able to get to the point of being able to do that. We didn't actually get to see a huge amount of their T side, to be fair, when we saw them against SK. It wasn't the biggest part of all of that, but hopefully that's what we get to see here. But guys, if you are just wondering, there was a quick little technical pause, so AZ's just jumping back in the server, so we'll be back underway quickly. And it is 6-11. Still favorable to NiP, but FaZe get off to the start that they needed here.
Well, now, I mean, you imagine this would go down to a very similar battle for that economic control early on in this half, where FaZe, I mean, with the response at NiP, they might want to reinvest into this, try and prevent that money from growing on the FaZe side. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out because NiP, we noticed in that first half, I mean, they were buying AKs. They were buying into every single round, not giving anything up. On the CT side, they might be a little bit more conservative, and that's kind of looking like what it's going to be. Buying down to around $1,000 on most players.
And let's see the approach now coming from FaZe as well. You want to keep these rounds as clean as you can. They do actually have a lot invested into this. Not that many SMGs either, so of course for these guys, losing out on Karrigan could happen, but you don't lose out on the rest. At this point, everything has to be clean. And let's see their approach to how they play out these, I guess they're anti-ecos at this point. So, 4 players outside, Karrigan playing back. This is actually very similar to what NiP did. We haven't seen the line of smoke yet, but you know, take that outside control, build up through it, set that present early. Just show that you do this. Go through those motions. And this is different. They are not going down secret.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of those options we mentioned in the first half. With that outside control, you have so many different things available to you. So they're going through the warehouse, and this looks like they kind of want it to be a pinch. It's a little bit interesting because Keo has the bomb, and he's actually really overextended. Gotta try and take mini. Rain's gonna lead the way, and he spots the shoulder. Unfortunate for Get Right. There's one in Hut, and he gets dropped as well. Coming up vents, Rain can't get a third, but Alu's made progress. There's AZ, and quickly, most of the danger in this pistol round, or this pistol buy from NiP has kind of been shut down.
Yeah, I'd say this one's quite safe for FaZe.
Methodical
now.
outside.
Yeah, it was actually pretty impressive. Now, pits can be found quite easily there, and Forrest at a range that's easy, as good as it might be, not gonna feel so good in. So Good approach from FaZe. I like what they did. I think actually Karrigan actually missed his smoke as well. So even with a couple of pieces not going well, still worked out. So all comes full circle, and Karrigan finding the kill is actually pretty good. Get the money on the UMP as well. Build up some bank here. Get that economy as good as you can on the T side as quick as you can.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have another chance here. So I mean, again, it is that game of just saying don't lose many players. Make sure the rifles are always covered. You don't want to lose three or any more than 2 players on this. Let Karrigan with the UMP lead the way. Let him try and get some of that bonus money. And again, I mean, if they choose to go outside one more time, that is the benefit of range. You have the AK-47s against just pistols, so how is NiP going to set this one up? No one outside. Is there going to be aggression? That's the big question here, and there's not. Everyone just kind of taking up positions.
Yeah, and it's not a worry just yet for NiP. This is what you go through. And
how did Forrest just win that? Or like come out on top of that duel? It feels like.
I don't know. These are all valid questions, Moses. None of which I have an answer to at this point.
I don't think AZ does either.
No, just sat there like, I just hope they didn't spec me at that moment. That's cool. But it is a 5v3. They only have pistols. Upgraded a few, so 2 P250s left on the board here. Now, we saw a couple of players were actually able to make those count pretty drastically in the last couple of days. But at the moment, I doubt we're going to see much play from this.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real danger for FaZe anymore. Alu's even coming up on top. So this is something that FaZe have done a couple times. There's actually 2 kills from GetRight, and there's a 3rd from Exist. So all of a sudden, this has not been a great anti-eco round. So good from NiP. Figures as soon as we say there's no real danger left. GetRight gets a couple nice headshots. Never count him out as well.
That was marginally worrying that they can get to that point, but the money is good for FaZe. Look at the utility they have. They have everything they need. Not going for an AWP though. Again, staying away from that. We're going to see Forrest though picking this one up. So let's have a little look towards how he plays this as well. Having an incredible game on their first half. If he picks up any part of that pace towards the second here, this is going to be a monstrous hold towards outside. And we know that FaZe like to hit that sort of thing as well. So this could be quite interesting to watch, but it looks like FaZe may have other intentions in mind so far. Already Keo just be getting a little bit of control, showing some presence over here, just setting a marker, saying, guys, you can't just walk out here, you can't just push up radio. I will be watching it somewhere down the line. Now, again, there's that wall of smoke coming in. Redefining this map. Now, AZ on one side by T-Red, and I think you got Alu on the other. So they're going to start getting the control building, and over by Ramp, I'm pretty sure we're about to see a hit coming in as well. So this is very similar to what NiP were doing in a way, that kind of split between Secret and hit towards Ramp, but this time it's Pit. Pit has to be the first on this one, and he can't get it done. Rain's there, breaks in, big kill for them. That means those 3 players heading through by Ramp from radio now have the way through, and you got to play down by Secret, so really, FaZe has a lot going for them.
Yeah, I mean, the big difference is obviously Karrigan played that passive. When the pressure came in, he would just fall away. Pit in a situation was not able to do that. They line up. GetRight almost was able to get a double, but he can't pull it off. It's just Exist. He has taken out AZ, but how much does he want to commit to this? How much does he actually want to go for this?
Great question, and I don't think he's the one who gets to define the answer. There it is, Alu, going to catch him off in FaZe with an approach we saw coming out from NiP, and it worked out very well for them there.
The strength of NiP's defense on this map is how good their rotations are to shore up holes in the defense, to fall back to that lower site and prevent that impact from Secret. Well, if Pit's going to be playing that aggressive, dedicated to that ramp room, he needs to have a second player with him, at least to spot, at least to bait them into him, because if you can't fall back from that position, there's just too many different locations you have to rotate and be mindful of. And it allows FaZe to get into those positions in that lower bomb site far too quickly. Here's a little bit of a stack, but it's busted up very nicely. Lobby crunch. Keo's under pressure, and he gets caught out, but Karrigan's here.
Just waiting, using that AK as delicious bait for the rest of them. Sadly, they can't upgrade that over towards Alu at this point, but he got a kill with the MAC-10, so yeah, he wasn't able to keep it on, but their money's really good already. Look at that. Really well set up. There's the AWP coming out for Alu. I'm excited to see what he can do on this T side. We didn't see much from him really in the way that we wanted to, so again, great opportunity for him now to bring up the quality of his play. And again, on the other side, Forrest this time not going for the AWP, didn't particularly have the money for it anyway, but we'll see if again FaZe can get in their face, keep pulling off the work they've been doing. And Alu, are you going to go for something a little spicy here, or are you going to slow down? Okay, so Nate towards Squeaky, going to go for the peek towards Main. Can't see GetRight. GetRight's angle is just kind of averted by the wall. He can't see. He might see the barrel of the gun if he stepped forward, but that's about it for now. But it's a nice way that you can define or make that player like GetRight now pinned to that position.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really tough spot. GetRight is really, really struggling at the moment. Oh, I mean, he's not under too much pressure, but if he moves, he doesn't realize it. He just basically dies. Smoke down and door, so now a little bit of breathing room for GetRight. Meanwhile, not a whole lot of pressure outside quite yet. AZ's here, met up with Rain. But FaZe is taking this pretty patiently. Gonna readjust, actually, I mean, look at this now. They all readjust outside, so a lot of pressure towards inner, and now they change it up.
Get Right could be having some fun here. He can see the steps between the smoke. At least 2 sets of fear just run past. He knows what's coming his way, but would you dare expect Alu to still be out there? It doesn't matter. He's going to respond accordingly nonetheless. Now, AZ's found Freiburg, which is a problem, because it means there's still presence elsewhere, and Carrigan slows down the rotate, denies them the clean play back toward B. But now, Forest right amongst them, right amongst every single FaZe member. He finds Keo, but he can't find any more. AZ puts him to bed, and now 3v2 still upper hand to the T side. AZ is pulling them through this round, no matter what NiP are doing. It's left to exist now. Bomb, not gonna be in his gaze. One player by Dark there. Rain gonna swing, I'll take the fight, and we are all even. FaZe bringing it back on this T side, showing NiP that, well, anything you can do, we might just do better now.
AZ was an absolute monster that round. 2 huge kills, and another tactical pause for NiP. It has been, I mean, this second half, you know, it has been all FaZe. They are destroying this defense from NiP. It's been 6 straight on the T side, in these gun rounds even. And it's been a pretty dominant 6 rounds in a row. Look at how much money is built up. Over 10,000 on 3 different players. They can buy for days.
They are so well set. This has been such a good display from FaZe. Like, you know, this is the thing. I'll give credit to NiP for their T side. It was really enjoyable, very well rounded, but FaZe are showing they can do just as well. I actually don't feel they've been particularly pushed by NiP yet. You know, I'm waiting to see a good buy come through from NiP where they can actually really get into the meat of things. But putting it as simple as it is, they got outdone last time.
It's something where NiP has to figure out how they want to approach this smoke wall that's going outside, because they obviously, I mean, we saw it in the first half as well, and FaZe didn't have an answer on the defenses. So much respect being given to the players going outside. No one really challenging that a whole lot. It's not from outside of a couple of rounds with Alu with the AWP, but allowing them to get down. This is something where if those smoke walls come up, respect it maybe a little bit, rotate someone to the bottom of the stairs, have Get Right be a little bit more aggressive around those smokes. But both teams have pretty much had free reign of this outside portion of the map, and it's punishing the other squad.
Oh, and there it is. Rain just dancing with danger. He knows what can happen with that scout, so he shuts it down early. Doesn't allow any sort of play to come through with it. Freiburg spots a couple of feet up above him. Going to find that, and that's a nice little present from up above. Just, you can see that there's a problem on the other side. Oh, Freiburg goes back in for more as well. 17 HP, has to back away, but tries to get a parting shot, but he can't land it. Goes back out, tags up AZ. But still, this is surely in control with FaZe. Surely they're going to lock this down. This can't spiral further.
Well, Pit's here now, and you can see everyone from FaZe has really slowed this hit down. There's the timing, though. AZ looks away. Down into a 2-on-2. Still huge advantage for FaZe. No one from NiP has been able to salvage a weapon. And Keo doing some damage, forcing Pit out of the hut. And that's going to put him in perfect position for Carrigan. When does the assassination come in from above? Wrapping around. The timing is going to be the big thing here.
Watching this?
I think Pit is. Oh, what a shot!
This is huge. This is absolutely huge. It's a 1v2 for Keo. 40 seconds left. He has the bomb, but can he find these players? Pit and Get Right perfectly positioned for this. Baiting it out, trying to bait him in. There it is. Get Right tries to strike, but he can't get the job done. And now 1v1. Pit has to pull this one through for NiP, but already Keo's got other plans. Don't you dare. Don't even consider that. But Pit smartly can go and get a gun now as well. So he's going to take that time. Let Keo consider the plan. Pit now knows, bomb's down. It's time to fight. Keo waits on the other side, actively looking for it, and he gets it! Pit pulls it off in the end. Beautiful work between him and Freiburg to turn that round on its head. And FaZe gets reminded, you can't take the ninjas lightly.
What a huge clutch from Pit, and that one-on-one was played so perfectly. You could see him slowly just shoulder peeking back and forth, just adding a little bit of an increment to that peak every single time, a little bit wider each time, but not committing until he knows exactly where Keo was, and then committing, and then winning the duel. That's NiP's first round in this half since the pistol.
That felt like a long time in the making for them, but FaZe, a little unfortunate on some parts there. You know, Freiburg absolutely beasted them, to be honest. But again, getting caught in that position, allowing yourself back down to that sort of spot, could have opened up a window of chance now for NiP to build back into this one. Again, this was looking like FaZe were very much in control, very impressive for a T-side on Nuke. We'll see if they can get back to that.
I mean, the reason why NiP's T-side was so dominant was that they reset every single time FaZe won a round of CTs. NiP just won the following round, so always kept them in this weird economic situation. If FaZe can do something similar here, it could easily be just a repeat of that kind of a scoreline.
But anyone I used to speak to, who used to play against NiP at the time, was these guys would ruin our money. That's what people found so hard back in, you know, when NiP were on that ridiculous tear. They were always in control of the money, and it was just almost impossible to break back in. But still, all that aside, in this game right now, it is a lead for NiP, but this T side has been all FaZe. FaZe have been doing some incredible work here, and this is something different coming through. Let's see what FaZe go for here. 57 seconds left, plenty of time to play with. Got the double stack towards ramp coming out from NiP, so a little bit different as well. Forest over here with Pit this time. Something you said was a needed addition previously if he's going to be playing aggressively. This time, just playing on the peak box so he can just go up and over, fall away, play in Forest if required. And now we wait 40 seconds. The next peak is going to contain a player. One being Alu. He tries to take the shot, needs to back away. Now he can play in Forest, but Forest can't leave this position.
Well, this is why Pit isn't falling all the way to the lower bomb site. He's staying here to just take some of the attention away. Forest making sure no one can swing wide on him, but if they commit to this, it's going to be a nice stack. Meanwhile, outside, AZ's made his way to stairs, and here comes the execute upper. Exist gets the first kill. He's close up into HUD. He's going to push Alu, not expecting that. NiP, the defense has come alive here, and it's a complete shutdown. Get Right and Exist with 2 kills each, and nobody falling for NiP.
Brilliant presence of mind for Exist then, just to take the aggressive fight. He knew it was Alu. He knew he could get up close and just has to take the calculated risk. And again, small windows of opportunity seem to be kind of now coming a little more open here at 13 to 11. NiP now building up money as well. They're starting to get a bit of an economy behind them, and, well, FaZe's money's starting to be depleted.
Yeah, now it's the dangerous portion where all the Molotovs, 5 smokes for the NiP side, they can delay the fast tactics. If FaZe ever wanted to run one, that's no longer an option. They have to slow things down now or risk running through fire every time they want to take a bomb site. Not as much outside pressure as we've seen. There are some smokes set up by them, so maybe an illusion, but NiP's not falling for it. No one's outside whatsoever. Again, it's very similar to the previous round setup.
1 minute and 20 seconds to remain. This time, Forest not over by Pit, so a little bit of an adjustment. FaZe, though, while he's going in, Exist trying to get comfortable here, but the floor is lava, and he's trying to find somewhere safe to wait. But Carrigan, timing is everything, gets himself out, checks towards the... Oh, Carrigan, hello, gets down 1, he is baffled. Freiburg has no idea what's happened, and Carrigan unleashes hell. FaZe now find 2 for free almost, and it's left NiP in dire straits.
How has that happened? Forrest wasn't even aware of it either, and he was the second one up a few seconds later. Freiburg just had no idea where that kill came from, and Get Right is even still a little bit curious, but I mean, they basically have to save this round. There's no avenue back into it. It's a 3-on-5. And they'd have to go through the vents, which has already been stormed through by Carrigan. So the sheer shock of that kind of a play has forced NiP to just back off. FaZe responding at a critical moment. All 5 of their players are going to survive, so the money is still alive. It's still building a little bit. Carrigan, he's going to get a 3rd in the round, single-handedly winning this.
That was a swift blow to the chest, let's put it that way. You know, the wind's now been knocked out of NiP a bit here. That's a reminder. That is a big reminder, and there it is. Goes on the board for FaZe, they pull this one back in, but just gets into this position, spots out a touch. Just that leg going past, and then gets the follow-up for free, and the communication must have been confusing and just, you know, it wasn't quick enough on that because, as you saw, there was no response coming in from Forest.
The crazy part as well is that NiP were set up pretty nicely for that hit.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't have anyone outside. Everyone was towards ramp room, everyone was towards upper, and somehow Carrigan single-handedly wins that little dance around the smoke and finds the 2 critical kills.
And here it is, 12 to 13. NiP do have money for now, but not perfect, and they're going to take a risk here, FaZe. Pick up the tempo and take the fight, and they win them. Rain and AZ come out on top. Get Right the only one to answer back thus far, but there is still time, there's still players. Pit making a quick rotate, going to find Carrigan, sprays in, but he can't claim the kill just yet. A couple of seconds remain on that one, as now Kyo's going to find Forest. So again, all the trades going favorably towards FaZe here. Let's pick and do something magical. This one looks like, again, FaZe, just brutality coming through towards these sites.
Yeah, but look how close they were. Look how close NiP was to getting some of these kills. I mean, Carrigan was easy down at 10 HP. Kyo's at 11. And Get Right has all 3 kills, but what shock and awe play from FaZe. Fast upper tactic, the preemptive Molotov inside the hut to extinguish, or the preemptive smoke to extinguish the Molotov. That was so nicely done. And FaZe here have put NiP on the back foot.
And what a round marker to do it. NiP's money now gonna be up in the air here. See how much they get to play with into the next round coming. So it's probably a bit of a mixed bag. We've got the money sitting on Get Right still. He still has the AK as well. Exist up on 5K, but everyone else is pretty poor here. So if you're NiP, what's the game plan now? They're going to go for this, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, risky. They could. I mean, they're going to have 3 rifles, so it's a good buy. I mean, overall, yeah. I mean, they can do things. The shotgun as well. I mean, that's one of the big points of this map. There's so many close angles. I imagine they'll actually put Pit in a different position. I imagine they would put him towards upper, somewhere close to vents, because he has the shotgun. But guess not. close up.
Do something dirty, Pit. Let's go. Let's see what you can do. I want to be disgusted by this Nova. All right. He's going for it. All right. Creeping up towards
the only way this works is if Forrest throws a pop flash for him.
We'll see. I believe in Pit. And
Oh,
here
no.
we go. It's all about timing. The flash is good. It makes it back away. He still finds Kira, but that's it. The Demolition Derby didn't begin. It's fine. It's okay. But that's still information gathered. That's still something to be trickled through to the rest of the ranks of NiP, who should be able to respond accordingly now. There's Forrest, makes work with the CZ happen, looks for a follow-up as well. Karrigan, terrified, has to be careful now. Left, right, and center could contain danger, and he tries to back away and buy a couple of seconds here, because yet we haven't seen FaZe hit the side. We've got Rain looking for opportunity, finds one. That could open up everything. Up we go, up towards heaven. And actually, Freiburg's still around here, so this could still be deadly.
Yeah, well, he's in hut and he just gets Molotov'd away. So yeah, the ground advantage, the higher ground advantage for FaZe. And actually, the flashbang comes out, missed a chance to pick off Freiburg, but it's gonna have to be a 3-on-2 retake. Rain just tapping away. He's got Karrigan in the sight, just trying to hold the line. There's Rain from above, and Karrigan responds on a Force, and it's just Freiburg, but he can't really do anything. He's got armor, he's got no kit, he has to hurry this up if he's gonna win it as all. The footsteps come out, FaZe know exactly where he is, and they're just toying with him, not committing to anything until both commit at the same time. 3 kills for Rain, but you have to feel like FaZe is pretty lucky at a certain level to get out of that round. They were so spread out at a certain point.
Was that like a 2v4 in the end, though, they just pulled back in? Or was it maybe a 2v3?
2v3, I believe.
That's... You can see how frustrating that must be for NiP to lose, because that looked like that was actually going all their way. You had the two kind of outliers actually coming up with the work. Nova got a kill, okay, it traded, then the CZ came in. In fact, you had the 3 players remaining who are actually okay in that position. They had something to work with, but still. At this point, 14-13, FaZe on the verge of picking up map 1.
Not only
Still a
map
best of
1,
3.
but it's NiP's pick.
Exactly, that's a statement to be making here at this point. Now FaZe looking for the chances now to follow this up. This should be their round. Again, upgraded pistols on this map sure can be deadly like any other, but FaZe have been pretty clean so far on these, pretty meticulous, and Rain's going through the motions here. And again, I like this play towards, you know, wrapping outside, getting all the information, getting the play, but Pitt still found one. That's Rain gone. Is there another to follow for this man?
I mean, look at this positioning outside. FaZe has done such a good job of this the whole half. What a shot from Exist. That's going to be traded right back as Alu's there to respond, and he's even going to get a second one. Get right coming up. It is Alu this aware. He is a 3rd kill. He takes over the upper bomb site. Freiburg with a nice deagle shot, but 15-13. It's map point for FaZe.
Yeah, 15-13. Money is looking good for them as well. They can go to whatever they want in this one. Alu's having a nice little couple of rounds already. We're starting to see what we really wanted from FaZe at this point. However, NiP, backs to the wall, time to come out swinging. These guys, you know, we've all seen the comebacks. We've all seen it from NiP, but this is going to be actually a very tough task. And everyone from NiP's playing well as well. No one's having an off game. Everyone's doing their job, but at the moment, FaZe, you gonna go for this, AZ? All right, AZ, let's see what you got. You're going straight in on this one, and well, Pitt just says no. A big no at that. That's 3. The man is stepping up and then some for NiP. And finally, FaZe get halted.
Very similar to just a few rounds back where they had the upper rush on a critical round to surprise NiP and take over that site quickly. This time, Pitt's there to shut it down. A beautiful stop from him. Still a 2-on-4, and the danger at this point is NiP, I mean, obviously fully invested into this round. If they lose too many players, even if they win, it's going to be tough because they'll be light on smokes, they'll be light on Molotovs, light on kits even for the next round. So they have to basically try and, I mean, it's always, you never want to lose players, but in this situation especially, you can win and lose 2 more players and it's still going to be tough.
Karrigan and Alu. What is the game plan now? Alu has been annoying as all hell again to this sort of position, being a real pain here. Karrigan's trying to bait it out almost, like, you know, don't worry about it. Definitely no one coming from this angle. Forrest, very aware though. He's seen this before. He's seen that film a couple of times already. Now NiP stabilize slightly.
Karrigan's just trying to distract, trying to take Force eyes away from the top of the ladder. We're going to have a pause here from Karrigan and FaZe in the last round of regulation to try and take this one away from NiP. But Karrigan, that's all a distraction. He just wants to buy that one opportunity, that 1 second that Forrest turns away. Unfortunately for FaZe, NiP already had 2 players in the upper site, so no reason for Forrest to turn around whatsoever.
This is going to be an incredible round coming up between these two. It's a full buy between either of them. They both have what they need. No AWP towards NiP, but to be fair, we haven't seen much of it anyway. Forest hasn't really been leaning on it as something they have to go to. It's been an occasional pickup, but Alu's got his, so we're going to see everything they have to bring in this one round coming up. And as a discussion piece, what do you say at this point? Because it looks like FaZe can do a bit of everything. They've shown they have these very quick plays, these very aggressive plays. They're quite hard to handle on occasion. So I don't know what to say. If you're NiP going into this, there's always the chance that FaZe throws a curveball because they're the ones sitting on the match marker. They're good here. That's the danger.
I would imagine that there's not going to be any kind of crazy curveball because they just tried that in the previous round. They just tried that rush towards ramp room. Might be a little faster pace that we're seeing here, though. Yeah, the tough part is you obviously, that's a big gamble to just assume it's not going to be some kind of a rush. But the benefit is NiP have built up enough money to have the Molotovs to slow it down. So they have all the tools needed to force FaZe into a more tactical, slower approach. And we're seeing what's going to spearhead that approach is the AWP of Alu. Looking for something outside, nothing being presented to him, and it's Pit towards ramp room. He's had a huge couple of rounds here at the end of this half. At the end of this map, even.
Yeah, definitely. He's been making all the difference in the...
Look at, I mean, the positioning as well. You can see from Force, this is a direct counter to what FaZe has been doing all game long, all half long, is trying to exploit those rafters outside, and Forrest just has his eye only on that position.
That is such a nice response. NiP, good awareness here from Forest individually, but would you expect Alu to do this? Alu? I don't know what's going on, Alu. Alu, you're going, he's a madman right now, a man possessed, chasing around Forest like this. And Forest is looking like he wants to take this to overtime, but it's a 3v2. It's still very possible for FaZe. They can still close this out. Karrigan and AZ. You got Freiburg, Exist, and Pit to stop them. Now, Karrigan's got good step towards the upper bomb site here. Exist, though, is in a good spot as well. This is very tricky for that to work out, but Karrigan adjusts. Somehow he wins that, and now we're in a 2v2, and this changes everything. AZ's position is great. He can deny one angle of approach. He's cutting off all the approaches that can come from, but Pit, he doesn't care. He's doing it all himself, and now the new man to the roster. Karrigan has to stop this before it really is a little bit too late, and now Freiburg peeks out, can't see the plant, and there it is! Freiburg to close down the final kill in that round, but Forest and Pit. Let's go back to Forest's position there, because that was sublime.
Yeah, that's the direct counter, right? That's them saying what's beating us up in the early portions of FaZe's T-side is so much rafter play, is the timing of it. So that's his only job in this round, is just to watch for that. And Rain, I mean, tough angle to clear, but this was the winning fight. This was the huge kill to get right at the end as Alu. I mean, they have to attack him. He's isolated. That's the proper play. It's just unfortunate that Alu with the AWP, it's the least favorable position to be in for that weapon.
It really is, and so far we'll be going into overtime in a couple of moments. But what an incredible game we're seeing coming up on T side here, on Nuke especially. You know, we all kind of sat there going, oh well, hopefully, you know, teams start to really pick up Nuke into the rotation, and we've got two teams who are looking like they want to be specialists at this sort of map here, and we're seeing exactly as to why. I loved NiP's T side. I loved what they did, but then FaZe turned right back up. It was again great response after great response.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing was you could see NiP, their CT side really got shored up. Both teams suffered on the CT side economically early on, but once NiP got that money under their belt, you could see some of the strengths of it as we're just waiting for overtime to begin.
But looking back as well, FaZe's money, as we highlighted, was never brilliant when they're having to try and deal with NiP on the T side. No. So now going into OT, at least we'll see what they have to bring with full money.
I mean, the cool thing as well is neither team really relied on the AWP all that much. So
yes.
You can't really get too, I mean, CT side, you can still get punished just by buying the M4s, but it's not going to be so bad as having to rely on an AWP.
Oh.
And
I've seen a certain purchase, and I think you have as well.
Yeah, there's something a little creative coming in here.
Oh, get right. There we go. We have the auto sniper coming out to play, and why not? Why not be that guy, huh?
It's good to note as well, though, no utility. He knows this is an expensive purchase, so buying absolutely no grenades just because he wants to have as much money. If they happen to lose, if they happen to not be able to salvage that auto, he wants to be able to get, and that's a big switch up outside with it as well. That changes the look of this defense.
Yeah, it really does. That's a very different approach they've gone to here just off the back of one purchase, but the upper side of things still looks relatively similar in the fact you've got Exist playing close, Freiburg as well, kind of being aware of this, but maybe going down towards Secret. He needs to ensure that no one's snuck down here. They actually haven't. They faked this out. They set that marker saying, we like to go outside, but Exist, he's gone for info, and he finds so much more than that, and that could be a third, but a lovely dance of the ladder works out for Alu, but it's only to be traded, and now AZ is left reeling. Gorgeous work from NiP there. And my word, Exist. just the level of timing to go for that was very lucky or very well read.
It's coordinated, because that was a delayed lobby pitch. Pith was coming in from ramp room as well, and he's able to trade Exist Death off immediately. That's something NiP didn't show for the entire half, and they busted out first round of overtime. That takes guts, and it gets them a round win here. And the big thing it also does, it establishes their economy for the rest of overtime. That expensive purchase, now you can see Get Right with the utility. Now they can buy no matter what happens in this next round.
And there's always going to be that huge stopping power now in the back lines. Alu's looking for this. He knows that there's going to be around here somewhere, but it's all a guessing game for him. Whereas for Get Right, I'm going to sit here and watch this one place if I want to, maybe two if I'm feeling a little bit spicy. And you go, Alu's already going to start occupying the wider peak he was just taking, and quicker on the trigger is Alu. So already going to find that kill, get some domers towards the outside. friberg instantly responds. Again, this is looking like this is how NiP likes to play back into this if they lose out on that first pick here.
Exist. He's had such good impact in the timing. He finds Keo as well. Forrest picks up Rain, and it turns right around for FaZe. Alu got the first kill, but they've been stopped cold, and here's the aggression. Kerrigan's waiting for it. He's had a phenomenal phenomenal map for FaZe. And this awkward positioning from Forrest, the assassination up top, they now know where he is. He falls down, that's a mistake, but he still comes out on top. Still alive in the sight, and friberg to bail him out. 2 kills at the end.
The crowd roars as NiP draws a little closer to looking a little bit cleaner on this CT side, but FaZe aren't done yet. They can still scrape something together in the form of a buy here. It's not the end of the world. But this is a big statement from NiP coming back into this. It was like, okay, we've had a bit of a close run here. We weren't, all that smooth on our CT side. All right, let me just show you everything. Let's just put everything's out on the table now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the full playbook on the T side. We saw so many different ideas, so many different cool tactics. Now we're seeing it as well on the CT side. How they can switch things up, how much variety they can bring to this defense. And it's, I mean, if you're Kerrigan, if you're FaZe, it's so difficult to be able to handle that. And much like we saw earlier with the Strauss versus SK on Train, I mean, the underdog comes close to this victory, and it seems like the favorite has just kind of put up a block and said no more.
You've had your fun, but now what? Get Right sees the shadow first, but Rain still lands the shot better. Incredible work, but the support system is there. Exist is shining in this one, and the shutdown comes in from friberg, and they get the clean CT side.
It's so fitting that Exist in overtime stepped up to such a huge margin. Yep. I mean, this is a player that, part of the reason why we've seen NiP do so well in recent months compared to the rest of the year is Exist stepping up individually, having phenomenal impact for this team. They talked on the analyst desk about how good Exist has become as a caller once Threat came in and give him a little bit more variety, give him a little bit more different looks that he can play with. I mean, tactically and individually, Exist has NiP playing very well.
And again, it all comes down to how this one starts up. Both teams have everything they need. NiP showed a beautiful T-side in regular time. FaZe, though, this time have all the money they need, though. They're not lacking for anything. They've got it all, so here it goes. One more round for NiP. It's all they need after the perfect first half in OT. But Alu this time playing outside. This is a different look here. We only saw him do this once, and it worked. So now FaZe, can they hold on to this centimeters apart? That smoke just averting his gaze. Rain's holding the cross, Alu watching it as well, but NiP have snuck their way through, just being part of that smoke. And now, well, again, Secret is all theirs.
No one's rotated for FaZe, though. No one's down lower. No one's even considering the possibility of stairs. They have no one to watch any of this. This could be another situation where NiP basically can have a free execute onto the lower bomb site. This is such a dangerous position for FaZe to be in.
There has to be a game plan. They've been seeing NiP do this time and time again. There has to be a retake plan. There has to be something. Otherwise, this is you laying down the red carpet for the first map being picked up by NiP. Here we go. NiP do take it going. They're going to be fine. They're going to get the bomb plant down. Now, Kerrigan's finally responded, but this feels so late. But AZ's there, sprays in, but friberg says a big fat no. Straight towards him. Now, Rain trades out evenly. Good work from Rain to find the frag back quickly. But that bomb plant is cheeky as you like. Still in the smoke. Rain's going to be confused as hell, going, where have they planted this? But there we go. Spots it all out. And now NiP wait ever so patiently. 4v4 now. Bomb gets toyed with, but there it is. Forrest and Pit shine. And now we're down to 1. NiP flawlessly close out OT. And that is how you play Nuke.
Yeah, impressive from NiP, especially in overtime. But you do have to say, that's too much ground given up from FaZe in that last round of overtime. No one rotating down. AZ didn't even get there until the bomb was already basically planted. So A little bit tough. NiP, they come out swinging in that OT, but a good terrace half from both teams. Great job keeping the economy of your opponents in check. And NiP just able to outlast them just by a little bit in Forest, hyping up the crowd.
Well, that was Nuke. That's the first map in this best of 3. We still have Train to come and overpass if required. And I can imagine we all want to really get towards that. So guys, let's not waste time here. Let's head over to the analysis desk to hear what they have to say about that last match.
Thank you, Lauren and Moses. Indeed, there is a lot to talk about with this one, as the story of Nuke was a lot more than perhaps anticipated. It was NiP's pick, and we did believe that the Swedes would be able to do the necessary damage, but not perhaps in the nature of that game. It was a story of T-sides. T-sides on Nuke, gentlemen, and of course YNK and Daze here to help me understand it. We regard Nuke as a CT-sided map, and yet we just saw two 10-5 T-sided halves. I mean, surely, Yanko, this is becoming a bit of a recurring trend now. Teams just seem to get better and better at attacking on Nuke.
I think it was more so because of the back and forth early on, that the fact that the teams on their T side managed to get control of the economy early on, especially for FaZe in the second half. In the first half for NiP, it was very back and forth, FaZe winning a round, and NiP, I think it was 3 or 4 rounds in a row that they were exchanging rounds. And as soon as a team gets control of the economy, yes, Nuke is a CT-sided map, but if you don't have those Molotovs, for example, incendiaries to stop an upper rush, we saw FaZe in the second half utilize that, knowing that NiP had a weak buy. So teams are more and more being aware of how to exploit certain weaknesses on the CT side.
Just an awesome first map in general. If you're a lover of good CS days, that was an enjoyable game to watch.
No, that was a great game, but FaZe won a lot of their eco rounds, and that really allowed them to really get back into the game. That second round that they won, after NiP won that pistol, I was like, oh, it's probably going to be over. Yeah. But then they won that second round. They were able to carry that momentum. FaZe played a very different game, though, and then I think on that than NiP on their T side. But the things that both teams did is that on their CT sides, they gave them so much room. If you notice, there was so much room for you to work on outside for both terrorist side teams, and that opened up so many possibilities for them. I think NiP maybe had an op once out of that CT side round or something like that, so you didn't really have to worry about that.
You got to see your favorite NiP buy again, that second round AK going into the try and reset. It worked. I mean, this is an example of just how much damage Forest can do with that AK. We saw it before once, and we'll see it again.
Well, yeah, I mean, they end up losing this round, but they get 4 kills. So at the end of the day, they were planning on buying the next round anyway, so it really didn't, you know, their plan was just to damage the economy. It's great that they almost
consider that a success.
Right? Oh, absolutely. 100% that's a success. Because the next round, they just had 4 AKs, and then the Tech 9, you know they're not going to have an op or anything like that, and you have the gun advantage going into that third round.
You a fan of that, Yanko? I know Sam has kind of praised this buy of just going second round AK and nothing else, and doesn't really cost you too much.
I mean, it's a very interesting thought process, right? Because an AK has the advantage over any other rifle, long range, barring the op and maybe the scout, because it's a bit more mobile. So for them, it's just sending one player out to do the damage. Yes, Freiberg loses a lot because he has to drop the AK, but you can always have one player with a pistol. He can pick up the rifle from someone else in the gun round, and that was one of the main reasons. Sure, they didn't win this round, but they were pressuring FaZe's economy. So FaZe, every time they had to play with an unoptimal buy or with pistols sometimes as well. So, and that did the work for NiP.
Sam?
So one of the reasons the FaZe was able to win those, ecos when they just didn't have much money and on pistols, I think they won 3 of them in total, was because they were playing more proactive. So when they just let NiP do whatever they wanted, NiP would just throw like misdirection. They'd, get 2 people in pretty deep positions outside. They'd throw some stuff somewhere else. Then those outside guys could get wherever they want, and things like that. And also, they weren't playing the lower side properly. A lot of the time, they were 1v1ing around the lower stairs, and NiP was taking advantage of that. But FaZe, when they ecoed, were like in their face with pistols. They were changing up their setup. It wasn't something that NiP could just read and just do whatever they wanted.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I just want to kind of return to a point you made and expand it to the desk. Is that you suggested that yes, both sides did have 10 rounds on their T side, but they got them through very different means. Does this mean we are praising NiP's T side more, given that you're saying that FaZe just picked him up, a couple of lucky eco wins or lucky eco wins as opposed to NiP's structure, Yanko?
I mean, NiP also won a eco on the CT side, right, with Python and Fiber getting the kills with the Deagles. I think it's more so, FaZe's T side is not as elaborate, but it doesn't have to be. They have, a clear plan coming into the round. Sure, you point out in the green room that you know, even in a round, they just throw an underhand flash, run through a smoke ramp, and I mean, it works for them, right? So it's a very gambly style in that sense. If you make a good call, if that's not where the CTs are, you know, their main focus is at, then it can work. But if you run into a stack or a good setup from the CTs, it might completely fall apart.
I mean, a gambly style. Days, you're a fan of gambling. What do you think about this one?
Ooh.
Well, the thing about FaZe is, although they lost that one eco and NiP won the one eco when Pith won the 1v1 at the end, it was a round where NiP was pretty in the money bonus, so it didn't like boost their economy up so much because they still would have got like around 3,000 or whatever anyways. So yeah, they get the 1AK, but FaZe was already still going to be able to buy. So it wasn't nearly as impactful as like the 3 rounds that FaZe won when they ecoed. So when you look at that and you say, okay, FaZe won 3 eco rounds, right? And then NiP only won their 1, but it wasn't nearly as impactful as those 3 together. At the end of the day, I think FaZe wasn't as good on this map as NiP, and I think it showed. If those rounds didn't occur, I think NiP would have won pretty easily.
Without the overtime, without the necessary of that OT. Still, though, NiP pick up their map win. We got to see Rain holding yard as we requested. We got to see Pit delivering. I think that's a takeaway. Our final closing point needs to be, right, Yanko, that Pit, especially towards the end, in Moses' words, to excuse me, Pit was having a great game. He was kind of winning rounds on the back of a couple of frags from himself.
I mean, that clutch by itself is probably, you know, that's what keeps them in the game. One round, seeing as how it's overtime. Forrest as well, amazing first half, more than 20 kills. And then he has a very quiet second half. But you remember that round when he was holding a passive angle towards yard. That just shows you, even though he's struggling in the second half, just a very, very intelligent play, reading what FaZe has been going through most of the time, again, makes it just enough that NiP gets to that overtime.
Finally from you, Sam.
The big difference for me is when overtime came, NiP made a complete adjustment to how they were playing. I thought when overtime came, they might bust out, like, they got the auto sniper on get right. I thought they would do like an op outside and just change it up slightly, but they were being more aggressive on like Hut with Exist, for instance. And that is something you see from these really good teams. When you watch SK play, when it comes to overtime, a lot of the time they'll change their play style from what they've been doing into a complete 180 if the other team has been winning to put them into overtime. Right. And then that's kind of the adjustments that these really good teams are doing that we're seeing from NiP and SK, and puts them on another level.
And another level, indeed, is going to have to be reached from FaZe in that second map after our break. And this break is one to look forward to. Before we do venture to the Totino's bucking couch and they have a bucking good time, we have to go ahead and check out with OJ, Borg, and the crowd, because they are about to try something quite crazy, an elaborate, biggest esports mannequin challenge. Let's check it out, and we'll be back with your second map.
Counter-Strike on the Totino's bucking couch.
If I kill you once under these conditions, I will be impressed.
This doesn't even affect me. I'm actually ready. Okay, now they're getting in.
Oh, I threw away my gun by accident.
Okay, this makes things a little bit more interesting when you can't actually see the screen.
I can't even keep my hands up the keyboard.
What's happened, man? You've lost the first round. Get back on your couch.
I can't handle it. The couch is falling apart again.
I'm actually upside down and I'm still nailing it.
You're really not.
Now they're getting into it. It's dark.
You said next kill wins, right?
Okay, then it counts. You win. He takes all the pizza rolls.
you want to feel like a